300 miles and 300 laps.
They're not just fast in New Hampshire, they're wicked fast, and we're ready to do business.
NASCAR on TNT is live in Loudon, New Hampshire. Welcome in to Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. It is the 19th race of the year for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And, you know, in this region of the country, they absolutely love their politics. Just down the road from the track, the state capitol. That would be Concord. And not only do they love politics, they also enjoy their seafood. How about this lobster? Not just good to eat, it makes for a perfect trophy. The fans in the Northeast, some of the best you will see on the circuit. And today they are ready for 301 laps at the Magic Mile. And up front, the big stars. In fact, when you look at the front four starters in this race, the top two rows, they have combined for 9 victories here. Among them, Tony Stewart. 3 wins for him at New Hampshire, but still looking for his first victory of 2014. Weather today, yes, there's a chance of showers, but we hope they stay away. 81 degrees right now, 60% humidity, and right now we are seeing cloudy skies. Hey, everybody, I'm Adam Alexander. So good to have you with us for NASCAR on TNT. Wally Dallenbach, Kyle Petty will join me in a moment. 8 races away from the chase, some big-name drivers yet to win in 2014. And, oh, by the way, when we come back here in September, it will be round 2 of the playoffs. Yes, this is a big day for NASCAR. And it's also big for us here at TNT. Not just wrapping up the summer series, but this event ends a 32-year run for Turner Sports covering NASCAR. We're going to have some fun with that all day long. First, though, our top story of the week. 9 owners in NASCAR coming together to form a race team alliance. Here are the teams that are involved. Michael Waltrip Racing, Hendrick Motorsports, Stewart-Haas Racing, the guys at Richard Childress, Joe Gibbs, Team Penske, the Roush Fenway Organization, Chip Ganassi, and Richard Petty Motorsports. This is a nonprofit business league headed by Rob Kaufman, the co-owner at Michael Waltrip Racing. We talked to Kaufman yesterday, and this weekend we also heard from NASCAR President Mike Helton.
Well, I think it wasn't really one single event that sparked it. I think it's just been a process that's happened over time. I think, the teams have worked together, collaborated on different things. I think a lot what crystallized around the Gen 6 car, where there was a lot of collaboration with the manufacturers and NASCAR and the teams to try to develop that. And I think that was a big success story. So it really was a process, not an event. Well, I think there's a lot of things that the teams have in common. Absolutely, we compete on track. But if you look at other professional sports, okay, well, all the teams compete. But at the end of the day, they're similar, very similar businesses. And this is really much more of a business-oriented thing than it is really kind of a competition-related thing.
Part of our method of operation over the last 6 decades is to make decisions, and we make those decisions by listening to a lot of individual stakeholders. In the garage area, it's every car owner in here has a voice, crew members, drivers, crew chiefs. And we take that input and we make what we think are the best decisions that are good for the whole sport.
Wally Dallenbach and Kyle Petty join us now. We've heard what Rob Kaufman and Mike Helton have to say about this race team alliance. You guys both drove. You were also an owner at one time in your career, Kyle. So what do you make of the announcement this week?
I make a lot of it, really. I don't think we know everything. We're just standing here speculating in a lot of ways, but I think we'll see a paradigm shift a little bit in the sport. You heard Mike Helton just say, we listen to our stakeholders, our individual stakeholders. Now we have a group of collective stakeholders with one person speaking for them right now, which is Rob Kaufman. So they're speaking through one guy to NASCAR, and I think that model will change. NASCAR has been very receptive and very open to what drivers have to say, what owners have to say, what crew members, what fans have to say. We have the fan council. But now if we have a fan council, now we have a driver or an owner's council, basically, when you look at the RTA. So I think, this day, the day they made their announcement that they were forming that organization, I think we'll look back on it in the near future and maybe in the history of the sport and say there was a shift in the sport.
What do you think, Wally?
I have to agree. I think any time, though, when a group gets together and forms something like this, the sanctioning body kind of takes a step back and go, oh, wait a minute, so it makes them nervous. But I also think it is good if collectively they're looking at making the sport better.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got the new TV package coming. You look at the attendance has been a little bit down. They're trying to build this thing back up to where it was 7 or 8 years ago. And I think it's good if they can all work together and not take this as a line in the sand, so to speak.
So we talk about what's happening off track. Now let's go back on track. We are in the stretch run to the chase, and there are some major leaguers when it comes to winning here at New Hampshire that are still looking for their first victory of 2014. How about Greg Biffle, the last Ford to get the trophy here? That happened in September of 2008. Tony Stewart getting his third win at the Magic Mile in 2011. Casey Kane did it here 2 years ago, driving for Hendrick Motorsports. And then there's Brian Vickers, who pulled the upset last season. All of these drivers would love to pull into victory lane today and put their name on this list, the Chase Grid. Most recent name added, Eric Almirola, who got his first career win last weekend at Daytona. But the 5 names you see here in white, all still winless and hoping to make it in on points. Perhaps more importantly, they would love to get their first victory of the year. So we're 18 races into 2014, 11 different winners. Let's bring in Larry McReynolds. Larry, I have laid out the numbers. When we get to the end of the regular season, how many drivers do you think will have a trophy?
Well, I personally believe in these 8 races before the chase, we'll have 2 more winners, which will give us 13 drivers that have a win that will make the chase. So if you do the math, that means the 3 drivers highest in points without a win, they will be a part of the chase. So that also means you can never discount where you're at in points. But 2 drivers I'm looking at, Jamie McMurray, 22nd in points. Tony Stewart, 20th in points without a win. I think they're too far out as far as points. So if they want to be a part of the party called a chase, they better win a race in these next 8 races.
Yeah, you said it, Larry. Time is running out without question when it comes to being able to get a win and lock yourself into the playoffs. What do you guys think? How many more winners are we going to see before we come back here later in the year?
I only think we're going to see one more winner. Honestly, I think we've heard these guys that have already won races. We heard Kurt Busch last week say, we need to win more races to block these guys from winning races. So now you've got these first 10 or 11 guys that have won races. They're in defensive mode. They're trying to block right now, so I see 1.
I see 2. And I see, and I've been saying it all year, I think Kenseth is still going to win a race, and I think Tony Stewart's still going to win a race. I think those 2 guys will wind up in victory lane before the chase starts. But like Kyle said, it's funny how these guys have changed their way of thinking on, like you said, a defensive. They're wanting winning races to keep guys out. And that's going to be pretty interesting if they can start pulling it off, because some of them are doing it. You get 2-3 wins right now.
It's going to be so fun, though, between now and the playoffs, because just right here at New Hampshire, 7 drivers running from the championship have won here, but not won this season. And then what about Marcus Ambrose going to Watkins Glen? Who knows? Perhaps he could get it done there. Now let's hear from our pit reporters. We say good afternoon to them, and first up is Marty Snyder. What's going on, Marty?
Good afternoon, Adam. Hey, let's play a real quick game. What do Kurt Busch and his girlfriend in a robe, Denny Hamlin and his team drinking from a drain, and Carl Edwards showing us the restroom on his airplane all have in common, Adam?
I would say this is our last race on TNT, and we don't want to go out that way.
No, it's all part of TNT All Access over the years. Some fun moments that you don't want to miss. Coming up on Countdown to Green, we're going to relive some of those very funny moments. That's coming up very shortly. Chris Neville?
And, Marty, it was just 2 weeks ago that Brad Keselowski gave the competition a proper thrashing at Kentucky. And after that race, he told his team that was championship form. Well, after practicing qualifying this week, it looks like they brought that championship form here to New Hampshire. Later in Countdown to Green, I'm going to talk to Brad Keselowski about trying to get his 3rd win of the season and also about what he's doing away from the racetrack. Looks like he's got a budding acting career. Ralph?
Kyle Busch landed on his roof a week ago after crashing out at Daytona. Today, he hopes to land in victory lane, and he should feel confident about that. He is starting on the pole here today, and he's won 8 times here in New Hampshire over NASCAR's top 3 series. And one of those wins came in the Cup division here July of 2012. We'll have an opportunity to talk to Kyle a little later on today when he comes out for driver intros. Matt Yoakum.
Ralph, so many different variables can come into play in deciding whether one has a good or a winning day here at the Magic Mile. Now, later in Countdown to Green, Larry Mack and I will break down from a crew chief's perspective the challenges that lay ahead for 301 laps of wicked racing here in New Hampshire. We'll utilize Larry's toys and tools. We'll talk about brakes, we'll gearing, and we'll kick the tires on Neil Toyota test car and talk about air pressure. How low can you go? That's one of the biggest stories of the weekend. And just so much more that's ahead from the Gang of Five, Adam, down here in the garage.
You got it, Matt. We are just scratching the surface. On the way, Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. You said it, Wally Dallenbach going behind the wheel of our Toyota Camry test car. And we also have a sit-down, Larry McReynolds chatting with Trent Owens, who helped lead Eric Almirola to victory last week at Daytona. It's all a part of the coverage here on TNT.
Another thing you'll see here at Loudon is guys dipping down here and getting onto the apron. There's a little bit of grip down here, especially when the track starts getting slippery.
Eric pointed that out to me on the airplane back. I really wasn't even thinking about it. He said, you know, you've won a race in all 3 series now. And I was like, yeah, I have.
Countdown to Green, brought to you by Sonic's Real Ice Cream Shakes. 25 delicious flavors. Stay cool and stay up late for half-price shakes after 8.
Live from Atlanta International Raceway, WTVS Superstation presents the Atlanta Journal 500. This is a new onboard camera being used for the first time, and one of the cars that it will be in today is car number 33.
Give it to Neil Bonnet in 75, the winner. Buddy Baker's coming home second. Bobby Allison holding on. He's coming to the line very slowly, but he's across in third place.
That's how it all started for Turner Sports covering NASCAR back in 1983. That man, Ken Squire, calling the action. Ken, a native New Englander, behind the mic again today, working the PA at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Great to have him here with us. And now we go back down trackside and hear from Marty Snyder.
Well, Adam, here at Turner Sports, we love fan interaction. And you fans by far have said your favorite feature in the pre-race show, All Access. The premise was very simple. Take a driver, follow him from run one race to the next. And the drivers responded by opening the doors to their personal lives and showing us some fun and very funny moments over the years. So since it's our last show here on TNT today for NASCAR, we thought we might as well show you some of those best of scenes. So here we go. TNT All Access Best of.
Come on, Bo, let's go for a ride.
How's it going? Awesome doing. Freestyle it, baby. Freestyle.
All right. Yeah, son. That was 100 of those. All right. Next 100. Here we go.
Can we do it again? Can we do it again?
You're the man, Lou.
What's up, Lou? There we go. Easy on the butt there. Jeez, I can't walk in here. They don't help them in cowboy boots. Yeah. All right, I'll take that one. You're a brave man.
See, the downfalls of looking this good when you dress, it's already hot. Already starting to sweat a little bit. That's how you do it right there.
Nice job.
We have a few guys that will do anything for $1, basically. So we always try to come up with something, make them eat more, have more dessert or something like that. We found a nice little water drainage for the rain, and so he made a little bit of money for something that definitely wasn't worth it.
What's up, bud? You got gas? God.
He does that.
Come on.
That's bad.
That's what you get for feeding your food.
How did it become my fault? Seriously. Dog farts and I get blamed.
That's good stuff right there, TNT.
I don't want my first New York tweet to not be special.
There you go.
I feel good about Belgian waffles because there's sugar and it looks good, but while I'm eating it, I'm thinking, look at all this fruit. I am a very good rower. We've got to throw that out there. It's a bold statement.
Is that a hickey on your neck?
Probably. I hope.
We need to bring him in some makeup to cover up the hickey.
Awesome. So this is it. This is a Citation jet. It's really cool. It can go just about anywhere. I'm able to fly it, which it seems crazy. My friends laugh at me that know me really well. But this is the cockpit up here. I think Finnick gets a little nervous that I fly it by myself, but I'm all right. The bathroom's not super luxurious. This is it back here. I'm actually in the restroom, and this will be the toilet that I'm sitting on. There's a little, there's like a privacy curtain, because you wouldn't want to be in the restroom doing your business and have somebody, right next to you, so they put a curtain to separate everything. So it's a closet, it's a bathroom, it's a real private place where you can get away from everybody else in the plane, because you're at least 16, 18 inches from people. That's the restroom.
You sure I can't go with cop hoodie tie? I'm ready. I think it matches. Look at this. This has Canadian tuxedo on. It's so sweet. Look, 2 earrings in there.
Sweet. But no, you may not wear that to the hill.
I'm stoked. It's time. Cop hoodie, beware. I got you, boy.
All right, let's name it. We can't name that cow SpongeBob.
Yeah.
With a kid coming and everything, it makes you want to just come home and hang out and take it easy for a couple days. Now I'm trying to come up with a baby name. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
He's come up with some interesting names.
You got Willie, Waylon, Cash, Haggard. I mean, those are badass names. I don't even know why anybody was ever named anything other than those 4 or 5 names.
What's up, buddy? What you doing? Look at all this good stuff I got you. You like race cars? Oh, look, you got them all lined up? No problem, man. Give me 5? All right.
You have any Joe Juniors ones?
Oh, no, I don't. Pretty sure that's going to make it on TV. You guys put that on and I'm going to be mad. Well, I hope you feel better, bud. Take good care of them cars, all right? Won't be crashing them up. Hey. See you, bud.
All right, it's all you. Here it goes. Do it. That was definitely worth it. Oh, damn. It's unreal. I can't believe they paid me to do this stuff. So, sorry, TNT, your access has been cut off.
Gotta love the kid asking for the Dale Jr. car from Martin Truex Jr. We want to thank all 11 drivers who allowed us all access, not to account our 24 Pride of NASCAR features. We want to thank our feature producers, Pam Mariani, Alex Jones, Lee Shelton, Sean Gerchkoff, and Daryl Bernardo. You know, speaking of good storytelling, our Eric Almirola winning at Daytona was certainly a very good story, putting the 43 back in victory lane. But the story of his crew chief, Trent Owens, might be even a little bit better. Coming up next on Countdown to Green, Larry Mack will tell us that story, and he'll also tell us why the 43 team has always been a family affair for Owens, even down to asking his mom permission to take the job.
I called her and I told her, you know, what was going on with the teams and the team I was at, and obviously the 43 car, and she was quick to say, you know, I think the time's right. If they really want you over there, you know, they've done a lot for you, and you should probably go there and try to see what they got for you.
Look at here at New Hampshire, there's going to be a lot of bumping, going to be a lot of paint swapping. It's going to get nasty out there.
So what you're saying is I need to keep a tight grip on my ultimate cheese and bacon cheesy bread dog.
No. What I'm saying is you need to focus on racing.
Chief, we got a major problem here. I'm not going to be able to hold on to the steering wheel and my cheesy bread dog at the same time.
The problem is you insist on eating instead of driving.
You're right again, Chief. I'm going to sit this race out and enjoy my cheesy bread dog.
No, that's not what I meant.
Try our new cheesy bread dogs. Race into Sonic today.
Tough start to the weekend for Eric Almirola. He crashed yesterday in practice, so he starts at the rear today in a backup car. But 1 week ago, it was all good for the Florida native, getting his first career victory on the big stage at the World Center of Racing in Daytona. His crew chief is Trent Owens. He has an amazing story to tell. Now we go to our crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
I learned very early that you better enjoy your environment you're around today and the people you're around today, because you just never know. You never know, you know, what tomorrow's going to hold, and it can all be gone in a flash.
Trent, this is your first year as crew chief for the 43 team. You're essentially a rookie crew chief in Sprint Cup. Do I have my story straight that how this all started was through a text message you got back last November?
Yeah, I was on my way to the track, and I got a text that said, would you be interested in going cup races? This is Eric. And I looked at it.
Eric Almirola.
Yeah, and I looked at it. I was like, this is interested. So I responded with, yeah, I'd be happy to sit down and talk about it.
Every time we go through the list, we talk about different guys in different situations, and we say, well, we really need to talk to Trent first. We just kept always circling back to Trent Owens.
Congratulations, Eric Almirola. For the first time in his Sprint Cup career, he is a winner.
You know, everybody's been watching what he's been doing. He's been pretty good in the nationwide stuff. He'd won with like 4 or 5 different drivers. And so when you look at something like that, you look at crew chief's pretty important. Right before they interviewed him, they found out that he belonged to the Petty clan. They didn't know that. So I wanted to keep that down, and he did too. He wanted to go in as an individual.
My aunt and uncle were very good to me and my brother. We spent a lot of time going to the races during the summers. Started in the race shop at Petty Enterprise when I was, I guess, 13 as a summer job, and, you know, just learned the ins and outs. My dad and Kyle were very close. I was 4 months old, so I never really got to meet my dad.
Well, I was there. I was only 14, 15 years old. When the accident happened, Randy was putting air in the tank. I had the hose, was running to pit road to give them the hose when the tank blew up.
It's pretty special to everything to come around full circle and be on the same car that my dad was.
It's kind of a continuation. Even though his name's not Petty, he's still connected with Petty.
I guess really I was the only family member in Victory Lane that was there 30 years.
Because even Richard wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there. So that was pretty cool to step back and think that I was there 30 years ago. Little did I know I'd be back as a crew chief on that car.
You talked about tragedy again, Trent, and your mom, Jan.
Yeah.
She remarried Barry Dodson, who was a championship crew chief in Sprint Cup, and they had 2 children.
Correct.
Trey and Tia. In 1994, and you had become very close to them. It's my understanding. Again, tragedy strikes the family again.
That morning, you know, received a phone call that, you know, Trey had been in an accident, that I needed to get to Darlington, and, you know, it didn't look good. So when I got to the airport, you know, John had told me that Tia had passed away.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know she was in the wreck. So that was very, very shocking. So you know, as we rode the helicopter and just prayed that Trey would make it in some fashion, as soon as we landed there, they told us that he had passed as well. And, you know, it was just, gosh, I can't even describe the devastation.
There was a young racer coming along in the late 90s, Adam Petty, and he became more like your little brother.
Yeah.
And you get another phone call. Do you feel like it's never going to end?
I did. You know, Adam and I were very, very tight. I heard a guy just say that Adam Petty had been killed in an accident in New Hampshire, and I was like, surely he didn't say that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, went along the phone rang, and so I was like, this is not going to end, you know?
Yeah.
And I just knew what my mom and Barry had just went through, and what we went through as immediate family, and I was like, man, this is just gonna be hard for my aunt and uncle and Kyle, and it's just, here we go again.
You have 2 children. Anna, I think she's 11, and Gray, who is now 6. When he was 2, you and Amy got some pretty upending news about your son, Gray.
You know, around 2 years, finally say your son's autistic, and you know, obviously, you know, we're like, okay, well, what do we do? And they're like, well, there's really nothing we can do. Not a lot. There's a lot of unknowns.
Sure.
The best thing you can do is just get the therapies and just hope for the best. You know, he's a special child. He's been a blessing.
I hear you're a special dad, too.
I hope so. But he's been a blessing in a lot of ways, and, you know, I wouldn't change him for the world.
You have 1 win as a crew chief in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and that was last year with Kyle Larson at Rockingham. Had a pretty special paint scheme and a pretty special name above the door.
We qualified 3rd, led almost the whole race, and you know, and they did a special thing of putting my son's name on the passenger door. So I didn't even know how to thank them.
Yeah.
You know, so hopefully the win was enough.
To win the race.
But yeah, I still have that picture on my Twitter and Facebook. I'll hold that race pretty tight to my heart.
It's good to see Trent have the success in the arena that he wanted to be successful in. And sometimes that softens the hurt a little bit.
Linda Petty, she passed away this past March, so she obviously knew that you had become the crew chief for the 43 team. What do you think she would feel, and then what do you think your dad would feel, knowing that you went to victory lane?
I think they would just be really proud. You know, it's hard for me to describe that. I mean, my aunt she was very influential in my life, and you know, to lose her this year was a struggle for all of us. She was a very special woman. You know, if it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't have these opportunities. You better enjoy your environment you're around today and the people you're around today, because you just never know. You never know, you know, what tomorrow's going to hold, and it can all be gone in a flash.
Special memories and history-making moments for the Petty family and race team with that win 1 week ago. And Larry Mack adding just 1 more. Trent Owen, now he joins a very elite group.
Yeah, Matt, he's one of only 10 crew chiefs on record to win a race in all 3 of NASCAR's top series. And of his 7 wins total, every one of them is with a different driver.
I love the line, Goodyear doesn't make bad tires, people just do bad things to them. And over the past year here, a storyline that we've been following, a lot of low air pressure issues in the left rear causing deflated tires. We saw it again this weekend with 2 other teams. Walk us through, how low can you really go with air pressure?
Well, Matt, honestly, it's a combination of things, because teams are looking for rear grip at a place like Loudon. One thing comes from rear camber. What they do, they put a lot of positive camber in the left rear tire, lean it out at the top, and that actually abuses the tire. But yeah, the biggest thing is air pressure. Goodyear tells them not to go under 12 PSI, but they know going down to about 8 or 9 PSI along with the rear camber, it gives them more grip. You stack in the fact that the no rod height rule in 2014, they take a very soft left rear spring and they just load it to where it's almost like a solid spring. Add all this together and the left rear tire becomes the spring, and it becomes a failure if you go too low on air pressure.
Looks sort of like our rental car tire last week at
Maybe
Daytona.
not quite that bad.
Well, another concern that a lot of teams are having here at New Hampshire. Let's go over to the back 40 of your playground and talk about gearing and brakes.
Well, this is a concern because in 2014 for Loudon, the racetrack here, NASCAR had the teams take 8 points of gear out because last year it looked like the RPM was getting a little too high. These are very long straightaways. There is a lot of high-speed corner entrance. The brakes obviously are huge, but the brakes are good. And when you take gear out, it actually puts more load on the brake because when the driver rolls out of the throttle, the car doesn't slow down as much. We're not seeing any brake failures anywhere we go, so we find the next weakest link. This brake package is stacked inside of this wheel. This is a steel wheel, and the closest part of the Goodyear tire is the bead that's connected to this part of the steel wheel. It gets too hot, and I promise you, if a car is handling bad, today we may see some Goodyear tire beads cooked.
And Adam, we didn't even talk about the two nasty words that we hear a lot here in New Hampshire. Fuel mileage.
Oh, but just wait, Matt. We will be talking about that later today. Go ahead and tell Larry, get the calculator ready. Brad Keselowski going for the weekend sweep. We hear from the man starting 7th next. He won yesterday's nationwide race. And now here's a look back at some of the great NASCAR moments from the Turner Archives. TBS was there. Richmond, 1986. When our own Kyle Petty won his first NASCAR Cup race. And check it out. This before Kyle's trademark ponytail. 1998, TBS carried a NASCAR exhibition race from Motegi City in Japan. This was the first time Dale Jr. raced against his dad, Dale Sr. Jr. in the #1 car, and of course Dad in the #3. They battled briefly during the 300-mile race. Mike Skinner held off Jeff Gordon for the win, and his crew chief, that would be TNT's own Larry McReynolds, getting the victory overseas. Dale Jr. finished 6th, while Sr. was 8th in the exhibition event in Japan. We have had some great NASCAR moments over the years on Turner Sports. Welcome back to Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. And so many well-wishers for us this weekend, including the group over at Hendrick Motorsports, sending out this tweet. 3 decades of coverage. Thank you, TNT. And Hendrick, we thank you for all of your support over the years as well. And now we welcome in NASCAR President Mike Helton. We've been on the air for 32 years, and I think you've been there every step of the way in some form or fashion. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me how old I am. No, it's watching some of the clips and some of the earlier programming on the pre-race has been fun to reminisce of sorts, and it goes to show as an example how much of a role that Turner, TNT, TBS, all that family has played in building our sport, building the character and the personality of it. So I join the rest of the industries, and oh, by the way, speak for the fans of saying thank you very much for covering our sport and bringing our sport to us.
I want to go back to 1983, our first race in Atlanta. That one was one that was very special for you.
It was special. I was the general manager of the facility back then, and Fred Reinstein and Ken Squire had created their group and had convinced Turner to air it, and that was a big deal for us locally, certainly, because TBS was a terrestrial channel there in that Atlanta market. But in those days, TBS was the American channel as the cable systems were growing, and so that gave the Atlanta Journal 500 the opportunity to go nationwide and certainly cover our own marketplace right there in Atlanta. And that was a big moment for us. We're very proud of that.
Sure.
I got one really important question. Can I still get a ride with you once in a while? Mike's been great. Every once in a while, I'll mooch over
like NASCAR
see if I can get on that NASCAR plane to go home, and I appreciate all the rides.
Well, looking at those clips from Motegi when Larry won, Richmond when Kyle climbed out of the car, I got a feeling we'll still see a lot of each other. we tend to stay connected, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Definitely will. You know, they say when one door closes, another door and another opportunity opens up. You guys have changed the points. Where winning is so important. On the horizon, over the next 8 or 10 years in the sport, what are some of the big issues that you guys face, along with your new TV partners?
I think it's being more relevant, using the technology that has developed over the years with our broadcast partners, and you've TNT and Turner has led us into the internet world, into the digital and social media, as well as high definition and everything else. So I think the next era of all that we can partner up with and be more relevant and more interactive to fans is what we're after and our partners are after.
Well, Mike, it's been a tremendous run for us. 32 years of Turner Sports covering NASCAR. We thank you and everyone with the organization for making it possible and supporting us along the way.
Well, we appreciate you saying that, but this is about thanking your organization.
Thank you.
Going back to Buddy Baker and Ken Squire and Dick Bergman and the first crew, right all the way through to everyone that's covering this race for TNT, to say thank you from a fan's perspective. You gave us the ability to see things that we didn't think we would see back in the 80s or didn't have an opportunity to see. In today's world, with the technology and everything that you brought to us, the personality and character, today's our day to say thank you.
Well, thank you, and have a great race today here at New Hampshire.
All right, then. Thanks.
And now let's hear from Brad Keselowski starting 7th today. Let's go to Chris Neville.
And Adam, 2 weeks ago, it seemed like all the talk was the 2-car. And down here at driver intros today, a lot of these drivers saying the 2-car is going to be the car to beat. And Brad, this car, does it feel as dominant as the car you had at Kentucky?
Well, you know, it's hard to know, Chris. I really wish I could give you a better answer on that, but the Red Zappuello Ford Fusion was extremely fast in practice. But we've been that way a couple of races this year, and really only in Kentucky have we been able to carry that over in the race trim. So hopefully we'll be able to do that today. I'm very, very optimistic and proud of the effort so far this weekend, and we're ready to get going.
Yeah, you've been having fun on the racetrack, but also some fun away from the racetrack. Last year you took a swing at acting on Sullivan's Sons. You did it again this season. You starting a new career there?
Well, you know, I got in a little slump there last year, and I thought I might need to, but no, Sullivan & Sons, great show and great people. A friend of mine, Steve Byrne, that's the main character in the show's up in the Pittsburgh area, and all about drinking beer. So that's something I know a little bit about and having fun, and can't wait for the show to air this Tuesday. Hope the NASCAR fans will turn in. We had a great turnout last year and great ratings, and that's why I did it. So I'm really thankful for all the fans that showed up, and we're going to keep having fun and doing things like that, but hopefully we'll have fun in Mid-Victor Lane today.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski looking strong this weekend, rolling off 7th, Adam.
Thank you, Chris. And we have some sad news to pass along today. Longtime Turner family member Scott Marks has passed away. Scott worked for Turner Studios for 36 years, starting at the age of 19. Scott was the Vice President of Production Operations for Turner Studios. We send our deepest condolences to his family and friends. He will be missed. NASCAR on TNT, back live in Loudon, New Hampshire. It's Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. And there is the car of the fastest man in New England. Kyle Busch set a new track record here on Friday in qualifying, our 13th new track record of the year. He's driving a Toyota Camry, just like our Wally Dallenbach was yesterday when he did some laps here at the Magic Mile.
Welcome to Loudon, New Hampshire. We're here at the Magic Mile. This is the last ride in my Toyota Camry test car, so let's take a lap around this place. Like Larry mentioned, they took gear out of these cars, and you can really feel it. So here we are going down the front straightaway. You brake real hard, getting into one. You do like a really hard initial brake. Slow the car down, get off the brake pedal as fast as you can. Then when you kind of get through the center of the corner, you feel like the car's got grip. Nail the throttle. Get after the throttle as hard as you can. You want to try to drive straight off the corner. Carry as much speed off the corner as possible. Down the back stretch. Really bumpy here over these bumps. Again, hard on the brakes. Get off the brake pedal as soon as you can. Let the car roll. Back on the throttle as hard as you can. Another thing you'll see during the race is guys dipping down on the apron here, trying to get a little bit more grip to those Goodyear tires as the track gets slippery. Now, one thing about this place, it's like an accordion. So a lot of times if there's trouble up front, you got to make sure that you let the drivers know behind you. Use your hand motions that there's trouble up ahead so you don't get run into.
And we say a special thanks to Toyota and all the guys and gals that have worked on our test car the last 6 weeks. It has been an amazing enhancement for our coverage. When we return on Countdown to Green, served by Sonic, we will hear from the pole sitter. We'll make our picks. But first this, practice on Friday. Joey Logano cut down a left rear tire. He slapped the wall, had to go to a backup car. He will start 6th in today's race, but had x-rays on his wrist. They were negative, but he will have it bandaged up when we go green this afternoon here at New Hampshire. And there you see Joey sporting the Autotrader.com colors.
Countdown to Green has been brought to you by Sonic's Real Ice Cream Shakes. 25 delicious flavors. Stay cool and stay up late for half-price shakes after 8.
This wraps up the summer series for Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. We thank Sonic for their support, and I'm wondering, what do you think, chocolate milkshake and maybe some tater tots in the cup in the bag? We can only hope.
I love tots.
I need some midway of today's race. And now get complete coverage of every story for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from New Hampshire and in-depth coverage of your favorite driver at BleacherReport.com/NASCAR or through your mobile device with the Team Stream app. Let's hear from the pole sitter. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
It's fun to take one more ride around the track with the driver. Kyle Busch is my guy who's waving to the people up here. He's going to be starting on the pole today. You know, you finished, I don't have to tell you this, second twice here last year, so you know how to get around this place. Strategy and how to have track position is going to be such a big part of it today. What's your strategy for track position late today?
I mean, the biggest thing is just trying to stay up front and, you know, having the freshest of left side tires as you can have and getting right sides towards the end, but having enough fuel mileage to make it to the end. So a bunch of different things happen. You know, I've seen the races here lately where, you know, guys come down and they pit before they can even make it, and then you have some cautions and then they make it. So there's always that gamble, but also just, you know, trying to have the freshest set of tires on the thing that you can and try to take care of that right front.
Drivers have a lot to worry about already. How much do you get involved with the strategy of the day, or do you just worry about driving?
I have a hard enough time keeping it between the walls, so I tend to try to let Dave Rogers handle all that for me. So guys on pit road do a good job. My pit crew's awesome, so anytime we come down, we try to pick up spots. But, you know, being able to drive the car to the full potential as you can and yet try to handle strategy and what tires to take or this or that and whatnot and seeing how the race is going to play out, it's pretty hard to do behind the steering wheel.
Well, he's got 2 poles here. He got his second one this week. Maybe he'll get his second win here later today, Adam.
Thank you, Ralph. And this weekend, teams are carrying decals for Victory Junction, celebrating the camp's 10th anniversary. Since its formation, the camp has helped more than 17,000 children and their families. And, Kyle, with that, we say congratulations to you and everyone at the camp.
Congratulations to those guys in the garage area, all these fans that are sitting here, NASCAR over there, and all the fans out there. They're the ones that make camp work. Obviously, it's in Adam Petty's memory, my son's memory, but these kids are amazing kids, and we've been very blessed.
All right, and we hope they will be together for many years to come. And now we make our picks for today's race. Before we get into the picks, we look at our standings. And only 4 races, because we didn't make picks last week at Daytona due to the rain. And entering today, Larry McReynolds, 11 points in front of Kyle. And, boy, Wally, you've got a Hail Mary in front of you. But I will say this. I'm going to hand you the trophy because you won last year.
Thank you very much.
So savor it today,
Thanks
all right?
to everybody back at the shop.
and now let's make our picks for New Hampshire, starting with you, Kyle.
I get to pick?
Oh,
we are so far behind.
Hat? Is that what you're doing?
Okay, so I'm just going to draw. I'm no magic. No magic?
You need some magic.
Wrong one. Oh!
Yeah, this doesn't look phony,
24. I'm going to go with the 24. There we go.
Didn't look set up at all.
You can't. Magic wand.
Oh.
Come on. There we go. Now we go.
All righty.
The two.
I hope we have a graphic built for this.
Right.
Yes.
And now the field, huh? Larry, do you want me to pick for you, or you got somebody in mind, partner?
No. If you want to be a champion, you have to think like a champion, but more importantly, you have to pick a champion. My man Jimmy Johnson, he qualified second, and oh, by the way, 06 time will be 4-time at Loudon, and him and Larry Mack will be enjoying a victory cigar.
Is that a leprechaun with a stick in his hand?
Are you really smoking a cigar on the air?
It's a victory cigar.
I mean, I know this is our last race, but come on, Larry. Hey, don't get that close to the gas pumps, okay? So this is it, the end of a 32-year run of Turner Sports covering NASCAR. It's been a blast, and I know all of us just proud to have been a part of it.
Yeah, I have been. I'm late to the game. Wally's been here
a
lot longer, but all these people behind the cameras that drag the cables, that do everything, they're the ones that put this show on. We just are blessed to be the face of it.
It's been quite a party, Woodrow. I've enjoyed working with you guys. It's been a blast.
And now we get set for the 19th race of the year. Going to do business the Magic Mile. Thank you for watching Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. Opening ceremonies after a break. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. TNT back live in Loudon, New Hampshire, getting set for 301 laps at the Magic Mile. This is the 39th race here. The last 12 races, we have had 12 different winners. Anybody's guess who will get the checkered flag today. Now we go trackside for pre-race ceremonies here at the Magic Mile.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Combined Services Color Guard present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Gary Hamilton, lead pastor at the First Assembly of God in Manchester, New Hampshire, offers today's invocation.
Father, we thank you today for this beautiful day that you've given us to enjoy this race here in New Hampshire. We ask your blessings upon the drivers and the pit crews, protect them, and bless our troops around the world. In Jesus' name, amen.
She is scheduled to perform the national anthem in all 50 states by September 14th in order to honor the nation's 200th anniversary of our national anthem and our nation's heroes. She will perform our national anthem today as her 41st state. Please welcome Janine Sting.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Some of the best fans in NASCAR right here in New England. Today they're set for 301 laps at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Command when we return on TNT.
No pressure. All right, listen up, guys. Listen up now. Game time here. Time to go racing. Hey, we in the home of title, man. Live New Hampshire. Let's do it today. Kicking all that bump. Taking that mange. Team on three. 1, 2, 3, team.
And that 9 crew of Marcus Ambrose ready to go racing here today. And now we go shore to shore with Joe's Crab Shack. On the pole, Kyle Busch set a new track record here on Friday. And this is it, the final NASCAR broadcast for Turner Sports. We've been doing it for 32 years. And when it all began, our Kyle Petty competing for his 5th season at NASCAR's top level. So good to have you with us live from Loudon, New Hampshire with Kyle Petty and Wally Dallenbach. I'm Adam Alexander. And guys, this is it, the final ride. You ready to go?
I'm ready. How about you?
I'm ready.
All right, then let's jump into New Hampshire. Last 12 races here, 12 different winners. Why is that, Wally?
This place is just difficult to get around. I mean, it looks like an easy place. You just go down the straightaways and just roll it through the corners. But it's hard to get through the center of the corners. Guys struggle with getting the car turned so they can get back after the throttle and drive the car straight up off the turn. And like I said, it sounds like it's easy. And you'll see 40 guys or 41 guys not get it right. The guy that gets it right is going to just fly here.
This place is a mile mile in length. But, Kyle, it races a lot like a short track. How physical is it going to get
It's
today?
the largest short track on the Cup schedule. I can say that. You've got to bump. You've got to grind. You've got to get everything you can after a caution or on a restart. That's where you pass. Track position is king here.
Absolutely, it's king. And if you're going to be able to get it done on this Sunday afternoon, you have to be in position late, and that means strategy is going to be huge. Larry McReynolds already stressed out as he gets ready to look at today's race. But before we can put the green flag in the air for the 19th time in 2014, we got to go trackside and get the command. Let's go there now. First, get customized coverage of Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon, and every other driver in the field with the TeamStream app from Bleacher Report. Download TeamStream for your iPad, iPhone, or Android device today.
For the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we are moments away. 43 of the planet's most talented racers are ready to battle at the Magic Mile. Here to give the command to start engines for today's race, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Senior Vice President for Camping World RV Sales, Kevin Bostrom.
Is everybody ready? Come on! Is everybody ready? Drivers, start your engines!
Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Squire. And as the engines have fired here at New Hampshire, I remind you that this is the final NASCAR broadcast for Turner Sports. I was the play-by-play announcer for TVS for 18 years, beginning in the very first year of NASCAR coverage, 1983. It's been a real honor to be a part of today's broadcast, and I wish my colleagues the very best today on TNT as this amazing 32-year run comes to a close. I hope you enjoy today's race.
Victory in NASCAR has never been more important. With only 8 races left until the chase, the focus looms on who hasn't won. For these drivers, the pressure for success mounts with each race. Today, opportunity awaits in Loudon. A 1-mile oval that is unnerving and unpredictable. The last 12 races, 12 different winners. Will this race be claimed by a favorite, or will an underdog vault himself across the finish line?
Time for NASCAR to do business in New England. Good afternoon. Welcome to NASCAR on TNT. We are live in Loudon, New Hampshire, getting ready for the 19th race of the year in NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series. And 1 week after we fought Mother Nature in Daytona, things looking pretty good here in New England. 82 degrees right now, cloudy skies. There is a chance of a slight shower, but we should be good to go green on time and go the scheduled distance, 318 miles. And now we get our starting grid. And how about this? The front 2 rows, these 4 drivers combining for 9 wins here at New Hampshire. Among them, Tony Stewart, who starts in row 2 looking for his first win of the year. He's won here 3 times. And right behind him on the grid, Jamie McMurray starting 5th.
Let's see if we can talk to him here. Jamie McMurray, this is Kyle Petty in the TNT booth. Can you hear me?
Clear, Kyle.
Man, we talk so much about how important it is to unload and be close. You guys have been in the top 5 or 6 in every practice, qualified 5th. Do you guys have the adjustability in the car? It's a little bit cloudier today than it has been to put this thing and get a W today.
Yeah, I mean, Keith and all the guys on the McDonald Chevy team have, man, we came up here and tested and had a little bit of a frustrating test, but came back and we've been good really the whole time we've been here. So we're going to do our best to make all of the McDonald's operators out there proud and hopefully end up in victory lane today.
How much, we've talked a lot about weather, and we've had weather at Daytona. Today it's a little bit cloudier. How much will that change the racetrack for you guys?
We were just talking about that. We're not real sure what's going to happen with the cloud cover. Our car's been good when it's been sunny, so you're going to find out at the same time that we do.
All right, man. Good luck out there. Hope to see you when this thing's over with and win victory.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, Jamie. And I'll pass along well wishes also for that #1 McDonald's Chevrolet. And now we get our KFC recipe for success. And for that, we bring in our crew chief, Larry McReynolds. What's it going to take to get it done today, Larry?
Well, Adam, it's a lot of things, but I think making that final pit stop at the right time. This is a short race. It's only 301 laps. Track position is critical. The driver that goes to victory lane, I think he'll make either 4, no more than 5 pit stops. Look at the last 9 races here. Jimmy Johnson in 2010 made his final stop at lap 284, but if you look at the other 8 winners, they made their final pit stop well before lap 250. Now to my broadcast partner for the last 14 years, Matt Yoakum.
Thanks, pal. And Kevin Harvick, when he won his 2nd race of the year at Darlington, crew chief Rodney Childers pulled some strategy. They debuted a brand new race car with slightly different ideas at Richmond. It finished 11th. They fought tight all night. They brought it back here to New Hampshire, just trying the A and B and see if maybe they might have stumbled on something even better. The car was tight on Friday. They wholesaled the setup, and Harvick changed his driving style, and between those 2 factors, they have hit on something. He qualified 12th, but now, Ralph, with the cloud cover, they're not really sure what they'll have in this #4 car.
Matt, Tony Stewart's crew chief Chad Johnston told me that in order to get that track position that Larry Mack was talking about, they might go with 2 tire pit stops today. But don't assume that means they're just changing rights. Chad told me he's more concerned about his left tires today. He said, I don't want to be changing rights and then 20 laps in, burn up my left rear. So you might see them go for lefts instead of rights for those 2 tire pit stops today. Chris Neville.
Ralph, Clint Boyer and the 15 team, they were testing here just a little over a week ago, and they found a lot of speed that day. However, on Friday practice this week, they realized everything they learned at the test wasn't working this weekend, so they quickly had to go another direction. And I talked to Clint before he got in the car, and he said they don't have the takeoff speed that they found at the test, but he said the car is more consistent, and that's what's important here in New Hampshire. Marty?
Chris, we have talked about the key today. Jeff Gordon told me track position will be everything here this afternoon at New Hampshire. I reminded him he started 11th because he told me we don't have track position to start off with. They start fairly far forward. He told me you've got to be in the top 5 on the final restart. Jeff Gordon's last win here, 1998. He's finished 2nd 5 times since then. He told me we have a car today that can finally get us back to victory lane at New Hampshire if, Adam, we have that track position.
And Jeff Gordon, a driver, as you mentioned, so experienced today, making his 39th start at New Hampshire. Yep, he's been in here for every single race. And now our Geico race analysis. 318 miles today. That's 301 laps. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour. And that pit window going to be huge because, as we've talked about, and we will do so throughout the day, strategy is big, especially in the latter stages. And we mentioned it on Countdown to Green. Eric Almirola starting at the rear this afternoon. Crashed here in practice yesterday. He's in a backup car. Kyle Busch on pole for the 2nd time in his career here at New Hampshire. And on the front row with the guy who has won here 3 times, Jimmy Johnson, the 6-time champion, sweeping the races here in 2003. Also got the checkered flag in 2010. As always, we bring you some onboard cameras. Greg Biffle, the 2008 winner, starting 27th today. Man who won here in September, Matt Kenseth, rolls 15th. We'll ride on board with him all day long. 8 races to the chase, and after this weekend, the final weekend off before we go to Indianapolis in 2 weeks and begin a 17-week run to the championship in Miami. Today, it's round 19 at New Hampshire. Green flag in the air, and we are off and racing in New England.
Good out back.
Busch chose that outside lane. You can do that as the pole sitter or as the leader on a race restart. Pay dividends, jumps out front early. Clint Boyer in that 15 car looking good. Got around Jamie McMurray. There's Brad Keselowski. Casey Kane going at it for position.
And we talk about it all the time. At the start of the race, on restarts, you've got to get everything you can. We see the 5-car of Casey Kane make a move on the 2-car of Brad Kay there.
Just watching the guys go down, and we get a good view going into turn 3, how low those pressures are on the left side.
Oh.
And that's another thing that you got to really just be careful of at the start of the race, is working those tires, getting the pressures up, and not abusing them so much. You could really hurt the tire when they're on low pressure just by being aggressive with them. So it's important to kind of take care of those tires for the first 5 or 6 laps.
Had the veteran there getting around the rookie. Matt Kenseth going inside of Kyle Larson. This is a tough racetrack, as you talked about earlier, Wally, but I have seen a handful of drivers get their first career win here at New Hampshire. Larson trying to pull that off today and end what has been a tough few weeks in the 42 camp. And there you see Greg Biffle start at 27.
Let me look at here, lap 2. Let him look at it.
Yeah,
some smoke coming out of the back end.
It almost looks like it clears up down the straightaway.
Boy, that thing really
tire rub?
got sideways. I mean, it got sideways on him. If it's a tire rub, that something's probably could be broken, that thing. Wow, look at that thing. Which is pretty much what Biffle looked like coming off that corner.
Yes, all weekend long. But look at that left rear. There's no Goodyear on that left rear. It's like somebody's already got into the left rear, and you can see it right there. He's got a flat left rear.
Flat.
He's got a flat left rear. Whether it's rubbing, whether he got into somebody when he came off the wall, but it's already flexing outside the car.
Yeah, I thought he might have had contact with Jeff Burton when he nearly hit the wall over there. What's the story, Ralph?
Well, Greg just radioed in and said it feels like it's getting a little bit better, but they said just keep going. We'll keep an eye on it. They're not too concerned about it just yet, although they're definitely going to watch this.
Mark Truex Jr. in the 10th position, right in front of him. They're battling for 9th. It continues to be Casey Kane and Brad Keselowski going at it for position.
Getting back to the Biffle thing, he's not going flat if he's staying out there, so it's got to be something else. But it could be maybe they were low on the pressure, so it took a while to get that thing built up to get some clearance.
And now Jimmy Johnson is off the pace. Left rear tire, something we've been watching all weekend.
All weekend long.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that a lot of it's got to do with, these tires, it'll hurt the belt. It'll hurt the bead. I mean, when you're starting down on these pressures, it's really got to take care of these tires. Hard to do.
Let's go to Marty.
Hey guys, Jimmy came on the radio. Earl Barber in the spotter said we have a flat, and Jimmy confirmed that. There is a little left rear fender damage. They're trying to get the car up. Clearly going to lose a lot of time here on pit road. They finally get the jack underneath the car. Now they jack it up. He's going to go down a lap here, replacing that flat left rear tire for Jimmy Johnson very early on in the race.
I just want to say something. People are like, well, why not just put more air in the tires? It helps the way these cars handle. The lower these pressures, and Larry showed it on the pre-race, it helps get these tires grip. And a lot of times you're going to take that chance.
Yes.
You're going to say, you know what, if it's going to help the car, it may put me in the wall. You know what, if it's faster, I'm going to take it.
But he's got 3 wins.
That's what I was going to say.
He's got he can gamble all day long.
He's got nothing to lose. Johnson was running second when he came to pit road. He's now a lap down 42nd. The top 5, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, Joey Logano, Clint Bowyer.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, live from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, is brought to you by Toyota Tundra. Let's go places. By NOS, you only live once. You only live NOS. By the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. Now with FlexBall technology, it's shaving rebuilt. And later in the race, watch for an exclusive look at The Expendables 3. Hang on for one last ride. In theaters August 15th.
Welcome back to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Under caution for the first time, it's gone from bad to worse for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, it looks like he had a tire blow, and this one finished him off. Now you look at that left rear. When we talk about low pressures, that's probably going to the flat side. He went in pretty good.
Yeah, and he said
that thing blew.
I think we heard him on the radio where he said this one just exploded. The other one went flat, and this one just exploded. You know, these guys have won so many races, and yeah, they can gamble, and you take that. But you know what? After you have that issue 3 or 4 laps into the race, you would think that you would just be safe. And let me put some air in this thing.
Yeah.
Just be safe. Get me to the first stop, a first green flag stop or regular stop, and let's see where we're at.
And you know what, guys? The thing about it, they're not able to build a very thick notebook for when we come back here in September, which will be the second race of the chase, because they only had 15 laps in this race.
And another thing is where you catch when you think you're having a flat tire. If your tire goes flat as you're going into the corner, it's almost impossible to save one of these cars. If you catch it in the middle or coming off, you've got a better shot of not winding up in the wall.
Speaking to Larry with the notebook, #1 item, air pressure coming back.
Yeah.
5th time this season, the 48 team has had a tire issue. 2nd week in a row, he's had early disappointment. Same thing happened at Daytona. Under caution early here at New Hampshire. 17 laps complete in the Camping World RV Sales 301. Kyle Busch leads. Denny Hamlin is second. Tony Stewart, Joey Logano, and Clint Bowyer are the top 5. Stay tuned for a look at the Expendables 3. Hang on for one last ride in theaters August 15th.
You know, I'd love to party with you boys. Insane. Courageous, but insane.
Welcome to the 21st century. I could do that. You want to slip on a dress and give it a shot?
Hey, Barney, you should have killed me while you had the chance. You want the kids? Come get them.
Let's do what we do. Couldn't take the stairs?
How hard can it be to kill 10 men?
These guys are nuts.
The Expendables 3 starts August 15th.
Sounds good.
Handful of drivers came down pit road there, but the top 15 stayed out. As we get set to go back green, let's hear from Jimmy Johnson. Here's Marty Snyder.
Out of the Care Center, Adam, and you said the first one just went down, but the second one, quote, exploded. What was the difference?
Yeah, just as you said, the first one I was able to drive the car all the way through turns 1 and 2. Knew I had a flat, and then got down the back and came in. The other one just blew on the straight as soon as I hit the brakes. So I'm not sure what caused it. I'm sure there'll be a lot of speculation, and I'm sure finger pointing back to the teams, or our team. But we've seen some issues here, especially with that particular tire over the last couple days. So we'll try to dig in and learn more. But I can promise you one thing: it wasn't low tire pressure. I've been out here for 2 days running around and haven't had a flat. So
and certainly not that quick into a run either, right?
Well, you know, there's many ways to speculate and think what could have caused it, and certainly after the first, we could have had damage that allowed something to rub on the tire and blow the second one so quickly. But just a bummer, and I'm expecting people to quickly point back at the team and say it's our fault, and I guess if it is, we'll accept it. But the car was fast. We had a great day qualifying, and we spent the time to come up here and test and get everything ready and prepared, and just unfortunate that we're out so early.
Adam, the one thing he mentioned to me, the worst part is we were planning to study for the chase today, and we are not going to get to study very much in 15 laps.
Yeah, it's a tough break for them, so they'll have to put the work clothes on when they come back here in September for round 2 of the chase. Go back green, completing lap 20. Kyle Busch, the front runner, as we cross the start-finish line and head back to turn 1. Joey Logano restarting third, outside lane, jumps up to the runner-up spot. That car's strong this weekend, and it's a backup.
Tell you what, also, there's a lot of guys down on that apron. I mean, all 4 on the apron on that restart.
Denny Hamlin slides back to third.
Yeah, Logano, those guys did a really good job. I was impressed with, after Joey had that problem with the tire and wrecked, and they got that backup car out They made a great qualifying run, and here he is running second. I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, you mentioned Logano. Johnson, of course, crashing here in the race. And the other driver to have a tire issue this weekend, Eric Almirola. Had problems in the early practice here yesterday. Started at the back in a backup car. And look at Kevin Harvick driving down low into the corner. On board there with Matt Kenseth, who's worked his way into the top 10. And see Dale Jr. on the move early in this race. Jumped some 13 positions after starting 28th today and looking for more as he battles Kevin Harvick. Well, you knew starting back in the 28th position they would have to play some sort of strategy. Early caution, they stay out, pick up some track position. They worked really hard on this car yesterday, talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte.
Yeah, sorry, they weren't very good yesterday. We talked about it in our meeting this morning, and Larry brought it up and said they put on tires late in the practice and jumped up to the top of the board in the top 3 or 4. But obviously they've gone back to the computer overnight, and they have upgraded this thing from what they were yesterday, because I don't think any of them were happy yesterday.
What's the word for Jamie McMurray? Started 5th, right now 10th, Chris.
Well, Adam, he's definitely been sliding back. That car's had a lot of speed all week, and I talked to Jamie Mack right before the race. He said if there's any spot on the racetrack he was worried about, it was going to be the center of the corner, how the car was rolling through that center. But with the weather change, this cloud cover, it seems like things are a little bit different. He said the car is very loose on entry, so he's not able to charge the corner he wants. They were talking about possibly coming to pit lane, but said that they just didn't want to lose the track position early on.
Talk about coming to pit lane. Kurt Busch, the top runner in the field that did pit there at lap 18. He's 18th right now. And Denny Hamlin trying to go back around Joey Logano. Lost the spot on the restart, but put Denny Hamlin back up to second now. Joey Logano third, Matt.
And Logano's only complaint, the car slightly tight on exit, especially in dirty air, but you can see him moving around trying to pick up more clean air for that 22. Now, you mentioned his issues of going to a backup car. I talked to Joey right before he climbed in. He showed me his wrist. It is wrapped. He said it was much better on Saturday, probably 80% better. He said today, no bad feeling in that wrist whatsoever. Even took a picture and we tweeted it just so you fans at home could see. Ralph.
Matt, the number 11 of Denny Hamlin, just in front of Joey Logano. Pretty good. He's been fairly quiet on the radio. The only issue he has is he's a little tight to the center of the corner, guys, early on in the run.
Well, I'll say this, Ralph. The Joe Gibbs cars have come to play. Kyle Busch leads. Your man Denny Hamlin is second right now. And Matt Kenseth, who started 15th, has worked his way up to 8th. And remember, when we came here in September, they finished 1-2. Matt Kenseth getting his first New Hampshire win, and Kyle Busch second. In fact, that 18-car runner-up in both races here a year ago.
This is pretty much in the run where you kind of know what you have to work with. You don't have many opportunities to make adjustment on these cars because this race is so short. So when you make this next pit stop, it's very, very critical to whatever changes you're going to make. You better get it right, because if you're not, you can go a lap down, or you can get you can lose 2 laps if you're off on the setup. So this run is real critical to getting up to your next pit stop. As you see Keselowski going, been watching his car. His car looks like it's pretty good right now.
Top 4 cars have all won this season. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. But the man in 5th looking for his first trophy of the year, that would be Kasey Kahne, won this race a couple of years ago. Kyle Busch out front. He's led all 29 laps here at New Hampshire. It's time to check in on today's field. Get complete driver-by-driver updates as they happen with the TeamStream app on your mobile phone or tablet. And now we go through the field, starting out on the race leader with Matt Yoakum.
And Kyle Busch, he's done just about everything. He's won in all 3 series a year ago. He finished second in both races. Now, he started out practice. His start point was in turns 1 and 2. He just rotated so impressively. They tried to focus more on turns 3 and 4. He was slightly tight across the center there, but he reports back to the team. The car is all good, Ralph.
Darian and Grub crew chief for Denny Hamlin told me earlier today I've got 4 different scenarios on how I will play the day strategy-wise, depending on what happens. This is a team that has a win, so they're pretty comfortable as they set up for the chase. Now, the car is a little tight in the center early on at initial throttle, Matt.
Team Penske, they've got their Fords up in 3rd and 4th. Brad Keselowski, under that last caution, sizing up his Ford compared to those Toyotas.
Under Joey, so our full nose was below him, and as we drive forward to get inside of him, and it comes off the bottom, the tray just quits moving as we make that move, and that's right now it's our weakness.
Now he's talking about his weakness. Now when you talk to Joey Logano's team, they felt like that Keselowski was slightly better than them, especially through the center of the corner. They tried working on that. Much like Kentucky, they felt like they were about a 10th off was Joey Logano in that, what I call near Evans Orange 22 paint scheme this weekend. Chris.
Well, Matt, just behind Casey Kane, coming off a rough weekend at Daytona where he was wrecked on the back straightaway, but the 3 races prior, all top 10 finishes. He said that team making a lot of progress. They're about 80% of the way there. He said that last 20%, the team needs to improve on the final pit stop and late restarts. Ralph.
Chris, I asked crew chief Chad Johnson for Tony Stewart earlier today how much pressure are you under to get a win, because they don't have one yet. He said right now this race is no more pressure packed than what we felt getting ready to run the Daytona 500. They're confident in their driver and their car. They think they have something here. They just need it to turn a little bit better right now, Matt.
A championship contender a year ago, Matt Kenseth in the 20 car won here last fall. In practice, they were slightly off, but Matt told his team the car is much better than it was on Saturday. It's a little tight on entry into turn 3, but it's free on exit, and that's good.
Well, Jamie Mack wants to get in this chase. He's got to do it by winning a race. That team has had fast cars all season, but really peaks and valleys when it comes to results. Right now, he's starting to move back up. He said that car loose early on, now a bit tight. Marty.
Chris, 5 laps ago, Jeff Gordon was running 6. He is in a free fall right now, currently in the 9th position. He just told Alan Gustafson moments ago on the radio, I have no idea where to begin. We are way off. He said it's so tight getting in, I have to lift early, and then when I get back to the gas, extremely tight there. And Matt, he's about to lose 9th to Kevin Harvick.
Harvick on the prowl in that 4 car. Now, he said the car felt sloppy on the opening laps, but then it started to come in. The problem, he lost too much time on those opening laps. That's one area they're going to focus on their first stop, trying to get the car a little better on the get-go. Larry Mack?
Matt, we keep talking about drivers that are in the chase, drivers that are not yet with 8 races to go. Brian Vickers in his 55 car, the winner at this race 1 year ago, qualified 17th, not making a lot of headway. He's up to 15th right now. Looking at the scoring monitor, looks like to me they need a few adjustments, need to pick up about 2 or 3 tenths to be able to compete with those Toyota drivers at the front.
And right now, Larry, we've got a great battle for the 9th position. Marty talked about the struggles for Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick knocking on the door. And look who's behind him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 28th, drove up to 18th on that short green flag run to begin the day, stayed out, restarted 15th, and is now 11th. And it won't be long before he's inside the top 10, trying to get around his teammate, Jeff Gordon. They got to feel much better about it today than they did Friday and Saturday, Marty.
I think they feel a lot better, Adam. And it's funny, in that final run in happy hour on Saturday, Steve Letarte told me they got pretty good. You see him trying to get around Jeff Gordon there for the 10th position now, and Junior gets a little bit loose there. But Steve Letarte told me this morning, if a caution comes out around lap 15, we're going to pit. Guess what? Caution came out at lap 14. They chose not to. He told Junior on the radio, we've made too much gains on the racetrack. No reason to pit. Left him out there. Clearly the fastest car as he finally completes that pass on Jeff Gordon, Adam.
And the one thing they have done to make their life easy, Marty, after starting 28th, not even 50 laps in, they have established some pretty good track position. That'll help them for the stretch run. Kyle Busch leads it here at New Hampshire, 44 laps in. Now let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look at today's race, brought to you by the Sprint Family Plan. With 7 people on the Sprint Unlimited Family Plan, you can get unlimited data, talk, and text for as low as $45 per month each. Visit sprint.com/speed or a Sprint store to start your family today. Eric Almirola starting tail of the field in a backup car after yesterday's practice crash, up 19 positions. He's our biggest mover. Of course, coming off his first career victory last weekend at Daytona. Historic for him, and today historic for us. Turner Sports celebrating our final race. 32 years of NASCAR coverage. And when you look at what we've been doing with the Summer Series since 2007, Eric became the 4th first-time winner, joining David Reagan, who also won at Daytona, Joey Logano, who got his first career win here at his home track in New Hampshire, and Juan Pablo Montoya in his rookie season getting the checkered flag at Sonoma. If you're just joining us on this Sunday afternoon in New England, we're 52 laps into the 301 that make up today's race. Kyle Busch started on pole, has led every lap. Denny Hamlin, his teammate, is right behind him. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Casey Kane make up the top 5. Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Jamie McMurray, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are your top 10. If you're a Jimmy Johnson fan, bad news. He came down pit road early, unscheduled pit stop because of a left rear tire that was going down, lost a lap, went back out, and a couple of laps later lost it again, hit the wall. He scored off track in the 42nd position.
Just going back to that picture of Larry smoking the cigar through the pre-race, was that not the 4080 pick?
I think he had the 48.
Okay.
I think he had the 48.
That just hit me.
And I think there was only 11 points difference, if I remember seeing it.
Yeah, don't keep that trophy right up here in the booth for a while.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up here in the booth.
So Joey Logano in a backup car as well after he crashed here on Friday, able to qualify in the 6th position. They've been hanging tight in the top 5.
Yeah, and their car's pretty good. It's not as good as Brad's car was, but it wasn't in practice. Obviously, we talked earlier, they wrecked their primary car. But we've talked about these Penske cars. Their aero and chassis package is pretty well balanced. They really roll through the center of the corner. I don't believe that Joey is as good as Brad is right now through the center of the corner. You see him go up the racetrack and have to wait on it a little bit, but he's still a solid car, a good top 5, top 10 car.
Yeah, he's not far off, which, like I was saying earlier, you're going to be able to come in and adjust on that and make it better. You don't have to take a huge swing to find that 1/10 of a second, because he's only about a 1/10 of a second off of his teammate, which I think right now Brad's car looks like it's the best car out there on this set of tires at this point of the race.
Look at Denny Hamlin closing in on his teammate Kyle Busch for the top spot. Reason why: Busch has been working lap traffic, most recently got around David Gilliland, who scored in the 31st position. How are they over the long haul in the 18 camp, Matt?
About 9 laps ago, Kyle Busch told his team that he jumped the cushion, in his words, over where he had been running. From that point on, he picked up a push in that 18 car. When he gets clean air, it does improve slightly, but now the car is on the tight side, Ralph.
Well, it's interesting, Matt. The 11 is not perfect, although it's running great. One thing about it, Kyle, is he says it feels like the tires have a ton of air in them.
And another thing about, what happens at this time, you're going to have cars that are better the first 30 or 40 laps. Then all of a sudden, your car's going to change, and you're going to have somebody that's better set up for the long run. You're just gambling on if this thing's going to stay green, or all of a sudden you get into short runs, which we've seen a lot of times at the end of the races.
Yeah, and Kyle talking about jumping the cushion and his car pushing. You can really see it with that 11 car behind him. Watch the 18 car go in. As he gets right here, he goes out and the 11 turns left and can gain about a car length on him. Talking about the 11 car, having a lot of air in it, feels like there's a lot of air in his tires. Like, what he's saying is, I feel like I'm up on top of the racetrack, skating a little bit. I'm having to tiptoe through the center. Can't go back to the gas as hard as I want to go back, but his car is rotating through the center of the corner better.
And you got to think some of that is, don't forget, it feels like you got more spring rate in the car because you've got more pressure in your tires. You built up that pressure, so it actually does feel stiffer in the back.
Yeah, and these guys have run 59, almost 60 laps, so they're at the tail end of a run. We're just a few laps leading up to the pit window, so this is when it's going to be almost as worse.
Yeah. Mentioned earlier, a year ago, Kyle Busch, a runner-up in both races at New Hampshire. 2 years ago here, it was the Denny Hamlin show. Finished second in the July race. Won here in dominating fashion in September. The Joe Gibbs teammates won too right now. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series rolling through New England on a Sunday afternoon. And we have a new race leader in our 301 lapper here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin is out front, passing his teammate moments ago.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's struggling right now, and he's just getting out of the way. And there's no sense at this point in the race to be fighting somebody for the lead. especially since you got somebody faster right now. So that was smart on Kyle's part. Just, he knows he's got to adjust the car for the longer part of the run. Very, very fast up until about that first 50 laps, but then that's when he starts to fall off.
Kyle has now slid back to the third position. Brad Keselowski passed him for the runner-up spot. Matt Kenseth is now fourth after starting 15th. Joey Logano completes the top 5. And then in the 6th position, Casey Kane won this race 2 years ago, and the Chevy driver is trying to get his first win of the year. Visit Chevy.com to learn more about the all-new Chevy Silverado, the 2014 North American Truck of the Year. Right behind Casey Kane, you see Jamie McMurray there. He drifted back, but is now starting to work his way back to the front. And it won't be long before we see a cycle of green flag pit stops for most of the guys up front. However, a number of drivers came down pit road at lap 18. Larry, what are they thinking?
Yeah, when I look at our top 15 drivers, within the next 5, 8, 10 laps, they'll be making green flag pit stops. But one of 19 drivers that actually pitted on lap 18 on that first caution was Kurt Busch in his 41 car. He and Daniel Knost, they filled it up with Sunoco race fuel, put 2 right side Goodyear tires on it. He can go about 18 laps further. Now, if the caution comes out before he makes his green flag pit stop, he obviously will have to pit, but he will have a ton of drivers trapped a lap down.
And Larry, is that a thought process that they came up with perhaps last night? So we get an early caution, we're going to come down pit road, get out of sequence, and try to play the strategy game starting that early in the race?
Well, I think what they would have really loved to have seen, Adam, is after we went back racing after that first caution, go about 20 laps, knowing that all those drivers that stayed out would have to pit. They would stay out and have the track position. I think that's the perfect plan they were looking for.
And Larry, let me ask you a question, though. That kind of puts you in a nervous situation there. He's already over a half a lap behind the leader. They're going to come out on new tires, and they're going to stretch that. So there's that gamble there that when you finally do pit, are you almost a lap down?
Yeah, and I think that's what, especially Daniel Knost, the crew chief, will have to evaluate how much time they are giving up on those older tires versus all these drivers that will have 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
Larry, been keeping an eye on Matt Kenseth. He started 15th, and the driver from the Joe Gibbs camp is now 4th. Another driver that's looked good early in this race just flashed through your screen. Here you see him coming right at you into turn 1. Kevin Harvick. 12th is where he qualified. Budweiser Chevrolet in the 7th position, slow and steady. And as Jeff Gordon said earlier today, if you're going to win this race, you want to be at least 5th on that final restart. And speaking of Jeff Gordon, had a pretty good qualifying run here on Friday. Made the final round. 11th really is where he started, but not great right now.
No, they've fallen back a ton. Back in the 26th spot. He's going to go a lap down here if he's not careful.
Well, his teammates falling back as well. Casey Kane losing another position here. He was 8th, now 9th as Tony Stewart drives around, and both looking for their first win of the campaign.
But it's like we talk about the 88. The 88 has continued to move forward through the pack. The 24 run a number of laps and then just quit. It's like the car just absolutely quit working. We were talking about Casey Kane. He ran about 50 or about 60, 65 laps, and then his car ran up against that wall. And it's like Wally said, now they know where they have to adjust. Now what can I adjust to make my car go the full lap? What can I adjust on that 24 to make my car stay under me longer than what it has?
We knew green flag pit stops would be coming. Saw Brian Vickers, last year's winner, on the pit lane. That happened at lap 73. Here's Jeff Gordon, Marty.
Adam, we used the word free fall earlier for Jeff Gordon. That was when he was in the top 10. You saw how far he had fallen. You see the track bar adjustment. Car way too tight. He said, I don't know what to do. It's undrivable, Ralph.
Well, the 11 was not good with forward bite when he was running behind his teammate. Once he got to clear air, everything got better. He's been a little tight in the center of the corner. It's just going to be air pressure adjustments as they put 4 tires of fuel in the 11 now.
Leader Kyle Busch is in. You can see they're going to make a track bar adjustment. He needs help big time across the center. That's where he was giving up all of his time to his teammate Denny Hamlin. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick in the 4 car. Turns 3 and 4, the 3/4 mark to exit. That's what he wanted his team to focus on. Losing forward, drive off. Change is complete on the 4, and he's away.
These are scheduled green flag pit stops coming just past lap 70. Jamie McMurray, top 5 starting spot. Here he is, Chris.
Yeah, Jamie McMurray slid early because he said the car was way too loose on entry. Later in the run was making it run towards the front. Said that car tightening up, so a small track bar adjustment there. Marty.
28 to the top 10 for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who slid a little bit when he got into his pit stall. He's already gone 4 tires. He said, I want it to turn a little bit better in the middle of the corner. They went up half around on the track bar. Only adjustment for the 88 team. Nice run so far.
Matt Kenseth making his way down pit road. Now, this team won in September of last year. Haven't won yet since Ralph. His car mostly 2-free from center to exit.
Matt, you got to be able to roll the center here in New Hampshire. That's the problem for Tony Stewart right now. That's what he's asked for them to fix. They took care of that with some fresh tires and fuel. He's away.
Tony Stewart exits the pit lane. Brad Keselowski, the new race leader. He is yet to make his stop in this cycle. Up to second now, Kyle Larson. Right behind him, Kurt Busch, Marcus Ambrose, Eric Almirola. All those drivers pitted under caution at lap 18 as Brad Keselowski, the 2012 champ, gives up the top spot to make his first pit stop of the afternoon. It will happen at lap 77 for that Reds Apple Ale Ford. Here he comes, Matt.
Winner on Saturday trying to pull off the sweep for Team Penske. Now, Keselowski said his car was pretty stout, but he needed help on forward drive on the exit. That's similar to his complaints about the race car during practice. The car was just too free, but it was fast, so he thought he would live with it. But he still wants to focus on that area on the red deuce today.
1993, July 11th that year, first ever Sprint Cup race here at New Hampshire. Rusty Wallace driving the 2 car for Roger Penske, went to victory lane. Brad Keselowski trying to get there again. A cycle of pit stops underway. Kyle Larson, the race leader here at New Hampshire.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, live from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, is brought to you by the new Samsung Galaxy S5. The next big thing is here. By Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory Ram. By Progressive. Visit Progressive.com today. By the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide. Now with FlexBall technology, it's shaving rebuilt. And by the Sprint Unlimited Family Plan. Unlimited data, talk, and text for as low as $45 a month per line.
Kyle Larson was the race leader when we went to break, but he and the other drivers that pitted under caution at lap 78 at lap 18 had to make their scheduled green flag stop. They have done so. It cycled back through. Denny Hamlin back out front, and Brad Keselowski going around Kyle Busch for second once again.
And just watching that, I'm not sure who made the better adjustment, because it just seems like the 18 was so good after, on a start of a run, and Brad just pulled up and just passed Kyle. So I don't know if they missed a setup or what on that.
But I want to go back, though, before we made pit stops. Brad Keselowski stayed out longer than anyone, establishing they have good fuel mileage. That's good news late in the race. But, Kyle, by staying out, they lost some ground to those guys on fresh tires, which is why he went from second to third.
Exactly, and that's what that Larry brought up, and we were talking about the 41 car of Kurt Busch. Even though he had pitted at lap 18, how long can you stand out and stay out, and how much ground can you use? Just those extra 2 or 3 laps when your competitor is on good tires, running a second and a half faster than you are. Next thing you know, they put 5 or 6 seconds behind you.
Yeah. Well, and you look at Brian Vickers, he was 15th when the cycle of green flag stops began. He was the first to pit. He's now 11th and running right behind Tony Stewart, who's 10th, Ralph.
Well, Tony Stewart still needs a win this year. He's a 3-time winner here, yet he might be developing a problem inside of that 14. He thinks there's something wrong with the alternator, and he has started to turn off some switches. Take a listen.
We might be having an alternator problem here. I'm just under 13 volts here. I've started turning stuff off that I don't need. 10-449.
Well, the thing about it, guys, there's a few things in that race car he doesn't need, especially on a cloudy day, like driver comfort. But there's so many blowers that they blow to cool the brakes, that they blow to cool the tire bead. So reluctant to cut those things off, but obviously that's what he's going to have to do. He's probably got 2 batteries, but he may have to go from battery 1 to battery 2, but sounds like he could be in trouble.
Did you say you thought they made the right adjustments in the 2 camp? Because here comes Brad Keselowski. Matt pointed it out earlier, going for the weekend sweep. The deuce to the inside of Denny Hamlin. This for the race lead at lap 89. Brad Keselowski on point here at New Hampshire.
We talked about the roll through the center. Well, there you have it.
Yes.
There's the guy that's rolling through the center better than anybody today right now. I mean, that 2 car is just, it just floats in there, and he just pulls away from these guys. Right at this point right here is where that, look at that.
Right there.
That's a ton.
Right there. You could hear the 11 car of Denny Hamlin go to the gas, but by the time he got to the gas, the 2 car had already rolled a car length or 2. It's crazy. The 2 car was fast in practice yesterday, fast in nationwide qualifying, won the nationwide race, and has picked up right where he was yesterday.
And after that cycle of pit stops, he was 2 seconds behind the race leaders. And this is the 6th time this season that Brad has done double duty, running both Nationwide and Sprint Cup on the same weekend. The results are pretty good. Top 3 in every Nationwide race, including 2 victories, and only 1 time did he finish outside the top 3 in Sprint Cup competition. And that was a top 10. Perhaps he can complete the sweep here this weekend. He's strong right now. 91 laps in to the Camping World RV Sales 301 at New Hampshire. Brad Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano, the top 5. And we continue to celebrate some of the great moments all time in NASCAR. In the 32 years of Turner Sports covering NASCAR's top shelf. How about 1994, the Coke 600, first career win for Jeff Gordon. He's now got 89 career victories, 3rd on the all-time list. Jeff Gordon getting it done on TBS back in 1994. And unfortunately for the 4-time champion today, he sits back in the 26th position, 1 lap down, and this has just not gone the way they had hoped, Marty.
It has not gone the way that they had hoped, but they figured out what was wrong on that first run for Jeff Gordon. Adam, when they came in, the right rear was going flat. It only had 14 pounds of pressure left in it. That's why his car got so bad at the end of the run. You see Alan Gustafson on the left-hand side of your screen. He made several adjustments trying to loosen that car up. Now it's a little too loose for Jeff Gordon, but they were really adjusting to that tire that was going flat. This battle, very critical on the right-hand side of your screen. That's the battle for the free pass. The lucky dog, if he gets by Biffle, he will be the first car 1 lap down. Adam, looks like he's going to do it.
Well, that's a problem. He won't be, Marty, because Ambrose was already put a lap down. That's what I was going to say. Keselowski is putting these guys down so fast right now that Jeff Gordon's going to really struggle being the first car lap down, because he just put Burton down. So now he's got 2 cars ahead of him that are lap down.
And Wally, you spoke to this in the opening. Somebody's going to hit it, and the guy that hits it is just going to drive away and make everybody else look silly. And that's what the 2 car is doing right now. He has hit it, and this last adjustment they made was obviously the right adjustment. And the 11 car and the 18 car are the best 2 cars that can run with him at this point in time in the race.
Well, the other thing that hurts you, the fact that we've had only 1 caution. We're a third of the way through the race. All those green flag laps, you're working traffic, you've got no chance to get any help.
But just like Kyle mentioned about trying to get those wins to try to keep guys out of the chase, when you've got a car this good, you are smiling ear to ear, because you're taking guys out of a chance to win.
Yes.
As many people, if you can put 6 or 7 cars in between you, lap down in between the first car and Jeff Gordon, you're taking Jeff out of the picture for a win here. So these guys are Keselowski is eliminating his competition right now later in the race by putting as many cars a lap down as he can.
He led 152 of 200 yesterday. He's led 18 today. And let's go back 2 weeks to Kentucky. He led 199 of 267. That 2 car has spent a lot of time out front lately. Let's take a closer look at today's race, brought to you by the Sprint Family Plan. With 7 people on the Sprint Unlimited Family Plan, you can get unlimited data, talk, and text for as low as $45 per month each. Visit sprint.com/speed or a Sprint store to start your family today. 108 laps in here at New Hampshire. And Brad Keselowski took over the race lead about 10 laps ago. He also led earlier on a cycle of green flag pit stops. In all, the 2012 champion has been out front for 25 laps. Pole sitter Kyle Busch has led the most laps today at 62. He's third right now, and sandwiched in between Denny Hamlin, who has led 20 laps this afternoon. Casey Kane continues inside the top 10. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is there after starting back in the 28th position. Haven't heard a lot about Kyle Busch. Led those laps early, got passed by his teammate, lost the second position to Brad Keselowski, and right now he's settled in third, Matt.
Right before that pit stop, he was telling Dave Rogers he really had to pedal it through the center of the corner. It was just so tight, and he was having to wait on the race car, and then the right rear would just step out on him. They made a track bar adjustment, and KP and Wally had good analysis about 10 laps ago where they noticed that it just looked like the 18 car was not as hooked up, and that's exactly what Kyle said. The back of the race car now simply not in the racetrack.
See Kyle Busch flashing through there in the third position. Right behind him, teammate Matt Kenseth. And Kevin Harvick, who started outside the top 10 today, has worked his way into the top 5 as we get our second caution of the afternoon, this time for debris. And I think it's going to be Eric Almirola who gets the free pass. Right now he shows on my monitor, first car 1 lap down in 21st. Big break for them to get back on the lead lap. And remember, they started 43rd in a backup car.
And has done a great job. He has driven the wheels off that thing. We've seen him 2 wide, 3 wide, outside, inside, to just maintain that position.
And we can confirm it was the 43 of Eric Almirola, the first car 1 lap down, gets the free pass, back on the lead lap. And this caution ends a run of 92 consecutive laps under green, and they'll come down and work on their cars here. Last time they pitted anywhere from lap 75, lap 80, somewhere in that neighborhood. You take 4 tires here, you're thinking 2. You got to start thinking ahead a little bit. We'll see how it goes. All the leaders are coming, Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has driven, Adam, as we've mentioned, from 28th to 9th. The car pretty good. He said it's hard to tell if it was better that run or not, but Steve Letart's going to make the call here for just 2 tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that's it. Ralph?
It will be 2 tires for Denny Hamlin, who says the car is not turning any better, and it's struggling late in the run with lateral grip. Chris?
Well, Jamie Mack still saying that car late in the run, a bit too tight, so we see a track bar change there. Just 2 tires on the 1 car.
Going 4 tires on Brad Keselowski's 2. 34 laps on that set of tires. Remember, they stretched it earlier. They made a chassis adjustment to try to improve that rocket.
Interesting. The race leader, Brad Keselowski, said, let's go with 4 tires here. You look at the race off pit road. Kyle Busch the quickest. Kurt Busch actually missed his pit stall. Denny Hamlin and Kenseth also had quick work. Kyle Larson shown as the race leader here at New Hampshire. He stayed out. Last time he pitted was lap 80, so we'll see how their strategy pans. Right behind him, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano. And let's look at Kurt Busch. When he came down pit road, completely drove by his pit stall, and herere's the reason why.
Yeah, Denny was just finishing up with his pit stop, and the 41 couldn't get into his pit stop, but it's not going to hurt him that much because he was one of the last cars on the lead lap anyway, so not going to hurt him.
Morgan Shepherd racing here today in the 33 car. Created a little drama down on his pit stall.
Does he not have the left rear on? Is that what the... Or is it on there?
Something was on fire. Look at the... Still got the thing in there, but he drove away from the fire, I think is what it was. Interesting tidbit here. We heard Mike Helton talk about the first race that Turner and TBS and TNT did at Atlanta. My man Morgan Shepherd finished 7th in that race. The only guy in the field that was in the first race that we did here on Turner, and then the last race.
And, you know, Morgan got around Atlanta pretty good.
Yes, he did get around Atlanta. Yes, he did. He's really 72 years old, man. Still out there hanging in there.
72 years old, the oldest driver ever to start a Sprint Cup race. 6 drivers take the wave around here under caution.
And it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this works. Obviously, the 42 is trying something here, what's he got, 25 laps more on his tires, basically, than the guys around him.
Actually, about 35.
Oh, 35. Yeah. I think he's going to slide back pretty quick with to the guys that have tires.
Jeff Gordon, Danica Patrick, among those drivers that take the wave around here under our second caution. Hey, Brad Keselowski fans, don't miss an exclusive sneak peek of Brad's guest appearance on TBS's Sullivan and Son coming up during the race. Then watch the whole episode Tuesday, 10/9 Central on TBS. Very funny.
But getting back to my point, a lot of other people want to see how this 42 hangs with older tires, because this is something they're all going to be looking at for what to do later in the race.
What were they thinking there, Marty?
Well, real quick, I talked to Chris Heroy, the crew chief, and he said, let me make something clear. We're here to win today. They've got to get themselves into the chase. So there's a little bit of a gamble here. He said at some point today, we had to take the gamble on track position. This is our gamble right here. So the car's not been that bad. We just want to see what it does out front here.
And, Marty, the only driver inside the top 10 that took 4 tires, that was Brad Keselowski, who was so dominant on the run prior to the caution. Larson chooses the outside lane on the restart that will come as we put lap 118 on the board at New Hampshire. Kyle Busch does not want to let him get away. A little contact as they come off turn 2. Both these drivers competing yesterday in the nationwide race, each of them finishing inside the top 5. Matt Kenseth did the same. He's right behind him in 3rd.
The tires are, don't forget, these guys that took 2 tires, still a little bit cold, still a little low on pressures. It's going to, after 2 or 3 laps, we're going to see who made the right decision here.
Side by side for the lead, side by side for 3rd behind him. What a mess we got going off of turn 2.
Yeah, that's if there's not a yellow first.
That's a good view. It's almost like Matt checked up a little bit to say, let me get a good view of this. Good look at this.
Oh, look at the 18 slide up the racetrack there.
Kyle Larson is doing a great job right there. I'm telling you, man.
But as you and I said yesterday during practice, this is his kind of track. Hot, slick, sliding around, go find your groove and race.
It is, and I'm going to tell you, that was good racing between the 2 Kyles right there. But that's impressive that he's got 25, 30-lap tires and hung on the outside. And like Wally said, you got to wait for those tires to come in. You got to wait for those tire pressures to come up for Kyle Busch and for Matt Kenseth and those guys. But that's pretty impressive for those first couple of laps.
I'll tell you what's impressive. Brad Keselowski restarted 10th, and after a few laps under green has already put himself inside the top 5. And now the battle for 2nd. Matt Kenseth started back in the 15th position today. Put him in the runner-up position behind Kyle Larson, inside of his teammate Kyle Busch. And then the Penske cars behind him. Logano is 4th, and we talked about Brad Keselowski, who's in the 5th spot with 4 fresh tires.
That's a good view right there. And if you listen to, when you listen to Matt roll in and roll out of the gas, and then where he picks it up, and you can see, you hear him pick it up right there and kind of feather into it and just kind of stretches. Puts about a car length every corner on the 18 car. You hear that little hesitation. That's where he goes to the gas and kind of feathers it and then goes again.
Mentioned it a couple of times already today, but can't say enough about the effort for Joe Gibbs Racing. 2nd, 3rd, and 6th right now, and they may have the race leader again because Matt Kenseth getting aggressive with Kyle Larson, Matt.
And Adam, he's told his team before that last stop, his car was just exceptional with forward drive and exit. He could get back in the gas. And like you guys mentioned, jumps back in the gas, feathers it a little, and then gets full throttle on with that number 20 machine. His only issue, Larry Mack, with the car was just a little bit free through the center of the corner. But other than that, he's very pleased.
But Matt, one of the things you and I talked about in our countdown to green was track position. And obviously that's what Kyle Larson and Chris Heroy in this 42 car, they've done. Now, I would have been a little nervous with 35 laps on my tires, but Adam, Wally, and Kyle, what they did by staying out, they can go to about lap 155, which means from there, it's a one-stop race for them.
Talked about Brad Keselowski. Moves up into the 4th position, make it 3rd. Inside of Kyle Busch, he'd already passed his teammate Joey Logano. Gibbs cars have combined today to lead 82 laps. 62 for Kyle Busch, 20 for Denny Hamlin. And it may not be long before Matt Kenseth puts his name on the lap leader list. Inside of Kyle Larson coming off of turn 4.
I mean, it's just a matter of time before the guys that put tires on are, get better.
Yes.
And as the 42 continues to put laps, on the 35-lap tires 5 or 6 or 7 laps ago, his times are going to get slower. But, like the guy said, if you can keep some kind of track position and set yourself up for the last pit stop, then you gained a ton.
Speaking of tires, 4 of them for Brad Keselowski, and he's about ready to go into the 2nd position, working on Kyle Larson here.
Wow.
That's tight.
They got a little tighter than Brad wanted it to get.
Yeah.
You take out the 2 wild card races we've had in the last 6-7 weeks. Sonoma, the road course in California, and last week at Daytona. Brad Keselowski has been amazing as he gets up to 2nd. Those runner-up finishes, Dover and Pocono. He was 3rd at Michigan. We talked about the dominance at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. And that Ford is strong again today. He's 2nd behind Matt Kenseth here at New Hampshire.
Now look at this bacon. Smells good. Oh my God, dude, I'm about to eat this thing. I screwed it up. Let's go again.
Try our new cheesy bread dogs. Race into Sonic today.
Closing on halfway here in Loudon, New Hampshire. 134 of our 301 laps complete at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And while we were at break, Brad Keselowski cutting Matt Kenseth's lead in half. Brad trying to sweep the weekend. That's never been done, winning both the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup Series race here at the Magic Mile. And to add insult to injury, not only is Matt about to lose the race lead, he's got some debris on the grill. Matt?
And while we were away, the team told him, keep an eye on your gauges. We've picked up some debris on the grill. The problem is with him out front like he is, no lap cars to try to pull it behind and change the air pressure on that nose. But Jason Ratcliffe told him, we're about a straightaway behind the next lap car. So when we get there, just go ahead and pull the move to clean the grill.
And I would guess, Matt, if Brad Keselowski gets around in here, he'll drive away too quick for Matt to use Brad, or is it possible for him to swing in behind and swipe that debris off using the 2 car?
You could take a stab at it. I mean, it just depends. I mean, you might be able to get lucky and cut behind Brad's bumper and have it fly off. But if it doesn't, then you've got to wait to get to that lap car.
Yeah, there's no question. I think he would attempt it with Brad Keselowski if indeed the water's going up. But think back to, was it Pocono that Brad Keselowski tried to use Danica Patrick to get some debris off? It didn't work out too good.
Turnabout is fair play, right, Larry? We owed him one in the debris category.
Yeah, that didn't work out too good at Pocono.
Brad lost in that exchange. He's hoping the debris does him some good here, and he is right in the tire tracks of Matt Kenseth. These drivers made pit stops at lap 113. Brad took on 4 tires. Matt Kenseth only took on 2, and here is the battle for the race lead. Keselowski down low, drives around Matt Kenseth, and there goes Kenseth trying to swipe it away, and he got it done. Mission accomplished. Took him 21 laps to go from 10th to the lead. Brad Keselowski. Top 4 cars in the race right now were the top 4 finishers yesterday. You heard him getting confirmation there from the team. The top 4 finishers yesterday running 1, 2, 3, 4 in today's race. Same tire. That's got to help you out, I would guess, the extra track time.
It never hurts for certain. I mean, track time's track time. I mean, you're certainly going to learn something. And a lot of times these guys that are running 2 races at a racetrack because they really run well there.
Yes.
And they like the place.
It has been a while since Kyle Larson made a pit stop, but he's hanging tough 4th right now, Larry.
Yeah, Adam, about 15 more laps they'll have to make a pit stop with this 42 car. But honestly, and I question, was it going to work out? And he may lose another spot or two. But I think you mentioned the words mission accomplished. I think mission accomplished with what this 42 car did. He's going to have to pit around lap 155. But where they will have to hold their breath after they make that green flag pit stop is for about the next 20 to 30 laps before all the other drivers make their green flag stop.
Right, because he's going to go a lap down.
No question.
And if the caution comes out in that 20 lap or 25 lap stretch, they're done.
But he will have fresh tires, and he will be making some hay with them, I guarantee you.
Larry, another driver would like to see a caution. Jeff Gordon, the man who's won 3 times at New Hampshire, took the wave around under that last caution. He hasn't pitted since lap 73. He is on the lead lap right now, the 4-time champ being scored 22nd. Brad Keselowski, a 1.1 second lead here at New Hampshire. TNT and Michael Bay present The Last Ship, an explosive new series, new TNT tonight, 9/8 Central. 147 of 301 complete, just about to halfway. The race leader is Brad Keselowski. Let's go through the field. We start in the 2 camp with Matt Yocum.
And this morning, polling several crew chiefs in the garage area, they pointed that the 2 car of Keselowski was the clubhouse leader after final practice on Saturday, and he definitely showed up and showcasing that horsepower now. His only issue, he was debating with crew chief Paul Wood. He was surprised that more teams didn't take 4 tires on that last stop, but he's back out front. Meanwhile, the Gibbs cars, Matt Kenseth, you saw him deal with the wrapper on the grill. His other issue they've been trying to fix, radio communication. First they thought it was spotter Chris Osborne. Now they believe it's Matt Kenseth. Matt has to keep repeating his messages to the team every time they ask a question. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 18 of Kyle Busch, now remember, they were having issues trying to get the car forward bite. Now he says the car, although it gets sideways when someone gets close to his bumper, it's not bad down to 1-2. And Marty, it's rolling the center very well in 3 and 4.
Matt, a moment ago, Larry Mack said mission accomplished for Kyle Larson and his team. I would agree with that. You have to remember, when they decided not to pit a moment ago, they were running 18th. Right now you can see running 4th plus 14, deciding not to pit. However, they will have to pit here in about 4 laps. Matt?
Joey Logano runs 5th in the 22 car. Now he has 5 wins on his racing resume. A win here today would be the first repeat in the Sprint Cup. The car on edge, especially on entry. By himself, it's not bad, but when he's in traffic, Ralph, the car is a handful.
Well, I just spoke to crew chief Darian Grubb, who's a head wrench spinner for Denny Hamlin, and he said we're pretty happy with the car right now. We're just trying to work him back up towards the front. He's running lap times in the very low 30s and high 29s, and right now, Matt, he's about 7.5 seconds back behind our leader, Brad Keselowski.
Ralph, much of this race, Kevin Harvick has been running in the bottom half of the top 10 in the 4 car, currently 7th. Now, they took rights on the last stop. Harvick didn't want any changes. He felt he was close enough to the field he needed. After that stop, though, the car way too free, and caution is out. In fact, they're talking about great wear on the rights. They're considering left side tires on the next stop. Chris?
And Matt, the reason for our 3rd caution of the day, debris on the back straightaway.
That saves the 42 right there.
No question, that saves Kyle Larson, and actually that caution was very timely for Jeff Gordon in that 24 car that took the wave around, because he's on the lead lap, and we know everyone will hit pit road right here.
They're going to be looking for fingerprints on that water bottle. I'll guarantee you.
Danica Patrick, also one of the drivers, Larry, that took the wave around. She continues on the lead lap, scored in the 23rd position. She was about to go a lap down, despite the fact she had taken the wave around, and this caution big for all those drivers.
And I think Jeff Burton may get the lucky dog, and he drove really hard to get to that position, to get in front of Austin Dillon, to be able to take advantage of this caution.
And we talk about this being our last race here on Turner Sports. There was speculation this could be the last start of Jeff Burton's career, and a fitting place to end it for him, because he's had so much success at New Hampshire. 4 career wins. No one else has done that. Led all 300 laps when we came here back in 2000. Top 10 in both races here last season.
I'm pretty sure that race, everybody held down their position for 300 laps, if I remember it correctly.
Yes.
Nobody passed anybody in that race.
No, and Jeff did a great job in that race, though. He did.
Make a mental note of this. Brad Keselowski, who's the race leader, got 4 tires under that last cycle of stops at 1:13. So did Tony Stewart, A.J. Allmendinger, Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, and Casey Kane. They're scattered all through the running order, but by taking 4 laps on that last cycle, you have an opportunity maybe to go with 2 here, and I'm sure there will be some that do.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I would go for 4, as good as his car is. You got a long way to go. It's your last stop. Marty?
Well, you got to love the play by Chris Heroy. As you said, the break that they needed. It'll be 4 tires here, no adjustments. Kyle Larson said the car is very good. You see him in the top right-hand corner of your screen, running 4th when he hit pit road, Ralph.
Then if Denny Hamlin is into his pit box, they're going to make chassis adjustments on both sides of the rear of the car. He will take 4 tires. Not having lateral grip late in the run is keeping him from completing his passes, Chris.
Well, Jamie Mack took right sides on the last stop, left sides and fuel on this stop. Would like to try and get the car to attack a little bit more early on. Matt.
A bad angle for Keselowski entering his pit. His jack man barely had enough room to get the jack down to get the left side up. 4 tires again for Keselowski.
And he left pit road driving like a man possessed.
I still like that call, though.
And it worked for him last time, drove right back up to the front. Logano, his teammate, took 2, and he wins the battle off pit road. First time we've seen Joey Logano out front today. 2-tire stop. He won the battle off pit road. Green flag going to go back in the air as we finish lap 157. Logano takes the outside lane. Only driver in the top 10 that took 4 tires there was Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski, who was the race leader, took 4. He restarts 11th. Dale Jr. getting out of line as we go into turn 1. Contact. Jamie McMurray, Joey Logano get together, and here comes Clint Bowyer charging to the inside. 3 wide. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brian Vickers, McMurray. It settles out into 3 as Logano works over Clint Bowyer for the top spot. What's up with the 22? He's second right now, Matt.
He just started telling his team the left rear. He believes that the fender is pushed in on the tire and is possibly smoking.
And Matty lost that left rear tire in practice here on Friday, hit the wall hard. He's in a backup. And remember, last year, like 5 laps into the race, same thing. Left rear tire went down, and he slammed into the turn 1 wall. Brian Vickers has played the patience game today, steadily working his way to the front. The defending race winner in the top 10, right now 6th, racing with Jamie McMurray. Right behind him, Brad Keselowski restarted 11th, already up to 7th, and it's not going to be long before he gets around those 2 drivers, talking about McMurray and Vickers.
Yeah, those 4 tires, I think that was a really good call on their part, especially at this point in the race. And you can just visually see these guys sliding around, and the 2 is just really looks good through traffic right now.
Let's go back and see what happened on that restart. A couple of drivers going at it pretty hard.
Just looking now. Just looking. Clear load. Clear load coming outside.
He just Jamie
coming outside. Dig hard.
Heck of a save.
Come on.
Loose a little bit.
Come on. Keep coming.
Stacked everything up behind him. Everybody did a pretty good job there.
Clint Bowyer leads this race. First time he's done so today. 2-time winner at New Hampshire is Bowyer, and looking for his first win of the year. His teammate in that same category, Vickers, back in the 7th position, being hounded by Martin Truex Jr., who's looking for his first win. Right behind him, Kane, Harvick, and Matt Kenseth, who's been making some noise today. So you look at Kevin Harvick right now in 10th. Under that last cycle of stops, he took 2 tires. Here's a thought on their strategy.
It's not the same car with no tires. Track position is important. 4 tires are leading. Yeah. We're just riding along where we are right now with the 2 tires. So how many laps was that under green?
That was 33 on those rights. The only thing I was wondering is whether we just put left on or put 4 on.
I just watched down pit road and make that decision.
Well, his crew chief, Rodney Childers, understands strategy here. They won this race a year ago. He was on the pit box for Brian Vickers and also led that 55 group to a top 10 in September. And Casey Kane's right in front of him right now. He's in the 9th position, Chris.
Yeah, Adam, one thing we've been talking about, that 2 car all day, how it's able to roll the center of the corner and go back to throttle, and that's exactly the front end of that car just gives up. So all day long, they've been raising the track power and dropping the air pressure up front. Still not getting any better on the 5 car.
Half the cars inside the top 10 have not won a race in 2014. And all those drivers aware, if they can get to victory lane, when we come back here in September, they will be running for a championship. Denny Hamlin right behind his teammate Matt Kenseth. Kyle Larson right there as well. And Larson, remember, got 4 tires under caution when they pitted at lap 154. The rookie hanging tough.
You know, and when you're in that position like Casey said, as a driver, you're trying different things. I mean, you'll put a little bit more rear brake in it. Maybe that'll help you turn. You start dragging the brake, trying to get the front of the car down on the racetrack, and it seems like none of that stuff ever works, though.
No,
when you're in that position,
it works for a lap or two and makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And then it goes away again. But, you know, like he said, it's just once he picks up the gas, it's just driving straight. It's not continuing to rotate through the center.
You look at drivers who are in a really good position as you check out the battle for third. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. I think Brad's in a great spot because they've been taking 4 tires, setting themselves up to go 2 later in the race. Kyle Busch has done the same, and I put Kyle Larson in that category. Right now the rookie is 12, but with 4 tires and now in the second half of the race, you can manage your strategy accordingly.
That's why I think it was such a great call, is because they were out front and their car's so good. He took 4. Where did he restart? 10th or 11th?
No, he restarted 12th, I believe. Brad Keselowski.
Up to
and
third
he's already
already.
up to third. Yeah.
So.
What do you see, Larry?
Well, there's no question watching that 2-car Brad Keselowski. They've been receiving dividends by changing 4 tires. What I liked about changing 4 tires right there, and we had 14 drivers go with 4, 9 go with just 2. What I like about doing it right there, with that pit stop, it is a one-stop race. So if you did 4 tires right there, it at least opens a door possibly for your last stop to just change 2.
And keeping in mind, Larry, depending on when the caution falls, all of that can change. But we've seen the tendency today and over the years here at New Hampshire to have long green flag runs. In fact, we had a green flag run earlier today of more than 90 laps. Knowing that, you want to make sure you are in position. Denny Hamlin in a tight position right there, racing with Kevin Harvick. He's got Ryan Newman right behind him. Newman, another one of those drivers, needs a win. And Jeff Gordon took that free pass, got the caution when he needed it, and he finds himself right now 16th. You talk about hanging tough. Kurt Busch, who's kind of battled the pit track position game today, finds himself 15th.
And it's another car with 4 tires. Once they missed pit road, they didn't have anything to lose. They came back around, or missed their pit stop. They came back around and changed 4.
Both these drivers got 4 tires on that last stop at 154, but no question, the best car here right now, Brad Keselowski. He has led 45 laps today. He and Kyle Busch have combined to lead over 100. They're second and third right now, and 1.5 seconds behind that guy. Clint Bowyer out front looking for his 3rd victory at New Hampshire. 170 of 301 complete, and the Camping World RV Sales 301.
Tax for as low as $45 a month per line.
We got all kinds of stuff happening here at New Hampshire. Caution is out for debris. 4th time we've been under caution this afternoon, and there you see the debris over in the corner. Clint Bowyer being shown as the race leader, but now we see Brad Keselowski in front of Clint. And here's where it happened on track just before the caution.
Clint just gives it up right there.
Yeah.
You know, I guess he'd been wearing out the bumper there for a couple of laps, or at least filling up that rear view mirror. So Clint just gave it up and said there's no reason to fight him and let everybody else catch up.
Pits are open. These guys were down 23 laps ago, and it looks like, nope, a little fake there for Brad.
That was close, man.
That was close.
So we'll take a break. 177 of 301 complete here at New Hampshire. Surprise, surprise, Brad Keselowski out front. it's time for Gillette's Max Contact Race Recap. Jimmy Johnson started on the front row, had a tire going down early, made a pit stop, and then after going back out on the track, a couple of more laps, hit the wall. He's right now in the 42nd position, done for the day. Brad Keselowski on a tear, started 7th, took the lead at lap 90. He has had some kind of a fast car. Lap 158, we had a wild restart. Clint Bowyer got the lead after Jamie McMurray slid into Joey Logano, but it wasn't long before Brad Keselowski pulled around Clint, got the top spot once again, and under this caution, he's going to pit. No, he's not. That was tight.
Close.
Brad in the outside lane for the restart. We will get it as we finish up lap 181. Clint Bowyer, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Jamie McMurray, the top 5. Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Vickers, Larson, Hamlin, the top 10 here in New Hampshire. Tell you, Bowyer got a pretty good restart in that inside lane.
May have been too good of a restart.
Wow.
Not going
to matter.
Yeah.
There they are, 3 wide again. Gosh, guys getting aggressive. You start to sense what we always see here on restarts. Best time to get positions. They're going after it. Look at Kyle Busch. Inside a fella Toyota driver, Clint Bowyer. Jamie McMurray pulling out of line. He'll be inside of Denny Hamlin as they go into the corner. Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the top 5, started 28th today. He and crew chief Steve Letarte said Friday evening after they didn't qualify good on Twitter, we're committed. We're going to get this thing where it needs to be, and got to give them a lot of congratulations on the effort they've put forth this weekend.
Yeah, they were just lost on qualifying and stuff, and apologized to the fans. Both of them did on Twitter, but they have done a tremendous job of getting that thing back competitive.
Said he was 5th and not done yet, trying to pass Kyle Busch, who started on the pole today. The 88 strong, Marty.
Going forward, Adam, on that last stop on lap 154, they took left side tires. That might be the last time Junior gets fresh left side tires this entire day. He said the car rolls better, but I need more forward bite to get off the corner. And he said no one is in the class of that 2 car. That's who we're all chasing at.
Junior, right now, Marty, the meat in the Joe Gibbs sandwich. You got Kyle Busch in front of him, who's 4th. Right behind him, Denny Hamlin, who's 6th. And a couple of cars back into 8th position, Matt Kenseth, who's really had a good car today. But as you pointed out, nobody as good as Brad Keselowski, who had stretched his lead since the restart to almost a second over his teammate of Joey Logano. And right behind the Penske parade, Clint Bowyer, who's led laps today and is 3rd right now, Chris.
Yeah, Clint Bowyer, always fun to listen to on the radio. At times today, he was kind of laughing because that car was so tight in the corner. Other times, he was screaming because that car was so tight in the corner. But as soon as that last pit stop, the team just did left side tires. They got him some track position. He's much happier now at the front, but still saying, compared to those Penske cars, he just can't get through the center of the corner like those cars.
And as you were doing your report there, Chris, Matt Kenseth got another one, went around Jamie McMurray, and right behind McMurray now, Kyle Larson, that gutsy call to stay out earlier, got the race lead, established track position, and now they're right where they need to be. Top 10 late in the race.
And I'm not sure Jamie didn't get in the wall getting off of 2. If he didn't, he came about as close as you could without hitting it.
I'm surprised he didn't have damage after he and Logano got together on that restart a while ago. But obviously no tire rubs or anything, because we've run several laps since that time, and he continues to find himself inside the top 10. And don't look now, but a couple of cars behind him, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think they've had one top 20 finish, Kyle, in the last 7 races. They need something good to happen, and they're doing a nice job today.
Doing a nice job. Did a nice job of staying on the lead lap, hanging in there early in the race when we had such a long run. And has just done a nice job on pit strategy to keep moving them forward through the field.
Well, things have stabilized here for Kyle Larson. He's 9th, Marty, and what are they thinking for strategy from this point on as Matt Kenseth drives around 88?
Adam, nice to see these young drivers driving up inside the top 10. Kyle Larson said his car's a little bit too loose right now. That's what he's fighting. But Chris Heroy did confirm on the radio to Kyle. He said the 4 tires they took at the lap 154 stop, that will be your last set of left side tires the entire day. Take care of those left sides. The next stop, they'll just go right side only, Adam.
But that's what we've talked about. You take 4 tires at a certain stage of the race, and then you know from that point on, 2 tires only.
Set yourself up. You're always trying to set yourself up to make that last pit stop as quick as you can. And that's just, right sides and fuel or fuel only or whatever you're going to do, because you don't know where if the caution comes out.
Kyle Busch right now in the 4th spot. What's happening with the pole sitter, Matt?
Still not able to dial that race car back to the characteristics it had on that first run of the day when he was so stellar. Busch told his team under the yellow that the car, if he gets anywhere near the flat, is just wrecking sideways loose. He wants to back it in the fence. After the caution, he said, I don't know what's happened with the race car with the heat cycle. Now it is even worse. Total handful for Busch. Highly spirited comments from the cockpit.
Yeah, and you can see when Kyle pulled over to let Denny go, you don't want somebody on your bumper if you're loose getting in, and he just decided to go ahead and let him go. Another car that these guys kind of flopping around. You got Menard sitting up there in the 11th spot right now. I mean, some guys who we really haven't talked about the first 180 laps of the race, all of a sudden things are starting to jumble up a little bit.
Yeah, well, Jeff Gordon right there, too.
Yeah, I mean, Stenhouse, Menard, we got Boyer up there in third. We didn't talk about him the first, 100, 150 laps of the race, as you said. Gordon's kind of recovered. The guys we were talking about that were making some moves, like Kane and those guys, they kind of stabilized back about 13th or 14th.
But you know what? It's what we talked about before we went green today. 12 winners in the last 12 races here. It's hard not just to drive here, but to figure out how to manage the race. So it sets up perhaps someone getting to victory lane you didn't expect. And we've got guys now circling to the front. As you said, we haven't talked about them all day long, but putting themselves in position as we close on 100 laps to go. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, the top 5. 193 laps complete. Today, the final race for NASCAR on TNT, so we continue to celebrate the 32 years of Turner Sports covering NASCAR. November 2003, 44th and final win for Awesome Bill from Dawsonville at Rockingham. And on that same day, Matt Kenseth got a top 5 finish. That would help him clinch his first ever NASCAR Sprint Cup title. Matt on track today, started 15th, worked his way up to 6th. One of those guys that's pretty solid in regard to tires. Took 4 tires on his last stop, which puts him in a nice position going down the stretch here at New Hampshire. Top 5 in front of him: Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch.
Yeah, you've got the back from Logano back to, gosh, you can go all the way back to Menard. They're all running within about a 1/10 of a second of each other. Yeah. Except for Keselowski, who's about 3/10 of a second a lap faster than all of them.
Yes. And it's impressive, and it's all in the center of the corner.
Yeah.
It's all in the center
Well, you
of the
remember
corner.
how he was in Kentucky?
Yes.
I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, you watch his car, it was visually, you could just see how that thing rolled through the center. Whatever they have figured out, it's obviously big.
Well, and it's not just him. I mean, his teammate Joey Logano in a backup car has been outstanding all weekend long, right now in second. As you watch Martin Truex Jr. get around Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick comes with him. That's from 15th on back on track. 26 cars on the lead lap. Under that last caution, it was rookie Austin Dillon that got the free pass. He's now 22 seconds behind race leader Brad Keselowski. Dale Earnhardt Jr. been very effective at getting up inside the top 10 today, but once he got there after starting 28, things have kind of stabilized. And, Kyle Larson has slowly worked his way back to the front after getting 4 tires under caution a while ago. Kevin Harvick is 16th, trying to drive his way to the front, and right now not very happy with the driver in front of him, Martin Truex Jr.
You might want to tell 78 that I'm done trying. Won't be the bumper. 10-4.
I think Harvick has frustrated a lot of things. He's just taking it out on the 78.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's, Martin has pretty much maintained a 5 or 6 car length gap between those two guys. So to get to the bumper, you got to close up that 5 or 6 car lengths, and Kevin's not done it lately.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Harvick's car through the center is awful. I mean, that thing is just sliding. He's having to almost diamond the corners.
But Kyle, you said yesterday during practice here at New Hampshire, this is the first weekend in a long time we haven't spent the first 3 days of the weekend talking about the 4 car and how great they are.
Since we were at Daytona in February, these guys, Kevin Harvick and that team, have been the top 2 or 3 fastest car every practice, every weekend, every qualifying session, it seemed like, and had a shot at winning multiple races. And it's well documented the pit road issues that they've had that have kept them from winning more races this year. So I think there's a lot of frustration that builds up, and especially when you come to a place where you feel like you're going to run pretty good. And I think they felt like they were going to run pretty good there. He's closing up on him right here now.
The guy that's taken over that role as far as being good all weekend long, Brad Keselowski. He's the race leader right now. Why are they so good? Let's go down to our Toyota Camry test car for more with Larry McReynolds.
Well, Adam, I've got a bank of monitors in my studio, and I've been looking at the 2-car in a lot of different areas around the racetrack. And Wally and Kyle, you've been talking about how strong he is through the center of the corner. One of the most critical parts of the race car from an aero standpoint is the front splitter. And what I've observed that Paul Wolfe and Brad Keselowski has probably done a better job than any other driver out there, even those Joe Gibbs Toyotas, is they have this splitter sealed off the racetrack, even through the center of the corner. The left front doesn't hike up. It goes through the bumps, but there's another key to it. I think other teams have sealed the splitter off, but they don't have good drive off the corner. That's what Brad Keselowski and that too they have. They have good front downforce with the splitter sealed off and good drive off the corner that lets him get down on straightaway.
Makes sense to me.
Makes perfect sense.
See Brad Keselowski out front. His advantage 4.8 seconds over Joey Logano. And now Kevin Harvick starting to close on the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. He's getting close to maybe trying to use the bumper to get around him. He said he would do it.
Harvick is driving awfully hard right now to get to the bumper. The 78 for whatever reason.
And he made a good move right here. He got up under him. He rolled in, kind of was a little bit patient, got into him right there, then got up under him, but just could not close the deal. Kevin's car is not driving to his liking enough that even when he gets position, he can't take advantage of that position.
That thing looks like it's really, really tight.
Yeah.
That thing will not turn. It's just, like I said, he gets to the middle, and it just, you want to go the opposite direction, and he just keeps sliding towards the wall.
Clint Bowyer had the race lead after that wild restart a while ago, but he's starting to drift back a bit. Goes to 4th as Denny Hamlin drives to the inside, and now it's Hamlin behind the 2 Penske drivers. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, 1-2 here at New Hampshire. Under caution for the 5th time today. Joey Logano in the wall after contact with Morgan Shepherd. We'll look at that in a moment. First, pit stops. Here come the leaders, Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. running 7th. So that run was so frustrating. It was loose in, tight in the center. I'm worn out. He's on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. It'll be 2 tires for Jr. and a wedge adjustment. Ralph?
Marty, the 11 has been a little tight when rolling, and on initial throttle, he's 10 laps short on the fuel window. They're going to pack him full of fuel and make a small adjustment, Chris.
Clint Bowyer still saying he's having to wait on the throttle a little bit too much. Just right side tires and an air pressure change. Matt.
Brad Keselowski asked Paul Wolfe, are we too tight on fuel? Because, yes, we're not close. 4 tires, no adjustments for the 2. He was very pleased.
A mixed bag there coming off of pit road. Some taking 4, some taking 2. And you can see the top 6 cars all going with 2 tires. It was Clint Bowyer that won the battle off the pit lane. Under caution for the 5th time. Top of your screen, the lap car of Morgan Shepherd into Joey Logano, who was running inside the top 5 on board with Joey. Despite being in a backup car, he drove his way to the front, but his day now pretty much done. "86 laps remaining here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Now 85 as the leaders cross the start-finish line and get the signal. A couple of laps away from going green. Clint Bowyer leads this race. Jamie McMurray is second. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Casey Kane, the top 5. Joey Logano being scored in 38th after this that brought out our most recent caution.
Yep, that's a tough pill to swallow when you're taken out by a guy that's 15 laps down. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I think you're right on the 22 here. Just watch, he gets pounded in the left rear.
Joey Logano in the garage. Let's hear from him, Marty.
And he just watched that replay and was just shaking his head in disbelief. You ever see anything like that?
Yeah. Slowest car on the racetrack took us out. Go figure. Just, we had a pretty good auto trader Ford. We're just doing what we can to hang in there. You know, we were obviously running second. Brad is really, really fast. He's definitely the car to beat right now. But we were just doing what we can with strategy, keeping our car up towards the front, running some good lap times, and felt like we could have a Penske 1-2 again, and then just kind of get taken out by the slowest car. I feel like there should be like a driver's test before you get out in a Cup car and make sure you know how to drive before you drive one, but I don't know. I guess there isn't.
Will you go say anything to NASCAR about this?
Nah, I ain't going to go nowhere. I mean, what am I going to say? Yeah, you know, I mean, it's not NASCAR's fault that he slid up. That's the slowest car in the track. I don't know. If you can't control your stuff, don't even be out there. If you're 10 laps down, what are you doing? But you know, whatever. It is what it is. We got our 2 wins. We're in the chase. It's not the end of the world. We'll gather back together and go back there and run around and I don't know, play around the rest of the day.
Right, he was very frustrated earlier on. Kind of threw his hat down and his hands up in disgust, as you can imagine, Adam.
And that's an interesting comment. It's not the end of the day because we've got our 2 wins and we're in the chase. If this was last year, these guys would be talking about points, that this was going to be a bad point and could kill us in
if
points.
If this is in September,
yes,
he would be going on his way to go see NASCAR.
So our Dish upcoming schedule there, a weekend off, then off to Indianapolis in 2 weeks' time, where Jamie McMurray has a win, happened in 2010. He's on the front row for the restart with Clint Boyer, who gets away in that outside lane.
Sure does, but yeah, it's amazing on these restarts how these guys really use that apron down there.
Do you grab it with the left side of your tires and help you hook through the corner?
There's guys all 4 down there, but because you're going so much slower, you're still getting up to speed on the restart, so you can try to get down there and see if you can, get on the inside and make something happen when you get into turn 3.
You know, those Ganassi cars have had a pretty good year. Last few weeks, not so good. Running 3rd and 4th right now, Jamie McMurray and teammate Kyle Larson, but right behind him, Brad Keselowski, who again elected to go with 4 tires, and I mean, he destroys these guys on restarts.
Unless they beat themselves, I don't know how. I mean, that 2 car is just, he's in a different league right now.
Yeah, and we heard Joey said it, he's just out there. He's doing stuff. And you're at the sharp end of the stick here. These are the best cars, and he drives by 1 a lap.
Well, you talk about building confidence, and it's kind of what Joey Logano said. Even though they're out of the race today, they know how good their cars are here. It's got to make you feel good when you return in September, knowing this is the 2nd race in the chase. And oh, by the way, Team Penske, they're not one of the teams that tested here. They actually tested at Milwaukee to help get their program dialed in for the flat surface here at New Hampshire.
That's a good place to test. So that sweeping corners, very flat. You can learn a lot at a place like Milwaukee for here.
Kurt Busch trying to get back inside the top 10, working with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch there. And what you see here are some drivers that maybe got 2 cars to gain some track position, racing with 4 tire guys that are deeper in the field because they went the 4 tire route last time. And Brad Keselowski continues to knife his way through. He's going to get by the 1 here of Jamie McMurray. What's happening for the McDonald Chevy, Chris?
Well, Jamie Mack obviously fast all day long, but pretty much the story with that car is the first 10 laps of every run, he's just saying the car very loose. Once they get past that 10 laps, then the car gets more neutral. And so Jamie McMurray, the 2 or 4 position he loses in those first 10, it takes him the rest of the run to make those back up once that car gets neutral. But on this last stop, just a 2-tire stop, and the team a little bit concerned about fuel strategy.
Try to make it.
Don't see how you can do it.
I mean, I was seeing if I could go quicker by saving, but I was already letting off pretty early.
I got 1 can of gas in it, though.
All these guys that came down pit road did so at lap 213. Last year in this race, Brian Vickers won. His last pit stop was at lap 211, but we did get 27 laps of caution in the latter stages of last year's race. If anybody's going to make it, having made their pit stop at lap 213, they're going to need some caution laps. Jeff Gordon is trying to get sixth from Casey Kane. Unbelievable.
I mean, I practically wrote him off earlier in the race when he got that lap down. Yes, I did write him off. And I mean, you know, but that's the thing about this place, why we've had so many different winners. You just never know when that caution is going to fall. You get to wave around, you get your car better. I mean, these talk about a turnaround. 24's had one today.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He and Alan have done a great job to just keep digging, just keep coming back. It's going to be interesting at some point in time to see this 2-car. Because as second place right there, and it's like I say, it's a lap or one every couple of laps, whatever. But it's going to be interesting to see this 2-car because we've seen these other guys change 2 tires and their car come to life on 2 tires. Whether it be right sides, whether it be left sides on juniors, get their track position, and the car it helps the car drive better with just left sides or right. This 2-car has changed 4 tires every stop. What's his car going to drive like when he just changes 2 tires?
Right.
Will it lose some of that balance? It'll be interesting to see if we get to that point.
Well, and if we get a late race caution, they may need to do that because going forward and losing track position wouldn't have time to get it back. And you look at what they've been able to accomplish in the last 6 weeks. And as I said earlier, Sonoma and Daytona, basically wild card races. You pitch those out. Runner-up at Dover and Pocono. And remember, Pocono, he had him covered till he had the debris on his grill late. Third at Michigan. So great at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago and putting on another amazing performance today. Brad Keselowski has led 80 of the 227 laps. He's second right now to Clint Bowyer. Hampshire in the Camping World RV Sales 301, and I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but it's Brad Keselowski while we were away driving by Clint Bowyer.
There's, like I said, there's nothing he really can do. Somebody can get through the center of the corner like that. I mean, you're sitting duck.
It's like taking candy from a baby today for the 2 team. They have been on their game. Brad has now led 85 laps of the 234. Pretty incredible. And now our Ram, no guts, no glory. And Larry, we have reached that stage of the race where you've got to figure out, are we in good shape to go the distance on fuel? What are your thoughts?
Well, it never fails. That caution falls, and it's just outside the fuel window of what we know most of these drivers can go. As we pointed out at the top of the show, the fuel window here for Sunoco Race Fuel is somewhere between 70 and 76 laps. All of these drivers pitted at lap 213 with 88 to go. Now, we did run 5 cautions before going back racing, and they actually buys them just a little bit. But I look at Brad Keselowski in the 2-car. Think back earlier in the race, he went the furthest of anyone under those green flag stops. He went 78 laps, but he had 7 laps of caution. I think every driver is outside of their fuel window, but I think if there's a driver that probably can make it work, it's probably the guy leading right now, Brad Keselowski.
And I agree with that, but why, if you're leading and you've got that kind of a lead and everybody's got to come in for fuel, why would you even chance it?
Because you have 2 wins looking for 3, no different than the driver we're riding with right now, Clint Bowyer. Now, I did hear Chris Neville say that they didn't think they got him fuel, so that would be a whole nother story. But what has Bowyer got to lose? What does Earnhardt Jr. have to lose? He has 2 wins sitting back there in third.
But what I'm saying is, when you're the leader, and if you've got a 3 or 4 second lead, and everybody has to come in for fuel, you're going to come back out the leader. Unless somebody does make it on fuel. That's not my point. That's not my own point. If you're dominating like that and everybody has to stop.
But you know what? I'm going to wait till everybody stops before I stop.
Yeah, well, he can do that.
And to that point, Larry, if you go back to that first cycle of green flag pit stops that we had today, the last car on pit road was Brad Keselowski. So we know not only do they have a great race car, but they're also pretty good on fuel mileage. I mean, I still am amazed at the situation for Jeff Gordon. Early in this race, he was up inside the top 10, drifted back, lost a lap. At one point, took the free pass, and here we are, Marty, with 63 laps to go, and he's running 5th.
Yeah, Adam, they were back as far as 26. Actually, they took the wave around when they stayed out under 1 caution. Alan Gustafson kept them out there for what Jeff Gordon described as forever on the set of tires. But the car has been fast this entire day. They've really not been that far off, except for that very first run when they had the right rear tire going down. You see the battle between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick on the right side of your screen. But for Gordon, he's now worked his way into the top 5. They are in a good situation tire-wise. The big question, fuel. Alan Gutson just told me we need 10 laps of caution to be able to make it to the end. But Gordon has manufactured this top 5. Got a good car, but give Alan Gutson credit. He has had to work to get Jeff Gordon back up there.
Well, and you said it, Marty. They didn't get the free pass. They got the wave around. And what was really good for them, that caution, because when it came out, they were about to go a lap down or have to make a pit stop under green. Caution came out, and it put them back in the game. Denny Hamlin moving up. He's back into the 7th position. Let's go to Ralph.
Well, the biggest challenge for Denny Hamlin has been late in the run. He loses lateral grip, and he needs that, he says on the radio, to complete his passes. As you can see, as he worked around Harvick, he's okay with that right now. The other challenge is going to be the same thing as everybody else, is fuel. Marion Grubb says right now we're about 5 laps short, and they need to lose about 250 RPMs, I think they're saying, per straightaway to try to save some of that fuel, guys.
Ralph, the Gibbs cars were so strong early in this race. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin both led laps. Been a good portion of the first 100 laps running 1-2. Matt Kenseth started 15th, drove his way right into the top 5. The last half of the race, the Gibbs car is not as strong. Team Penske is taking over, and they were running 1-2 before Joey Logano got wrecked up in turns 3 and 4. Brad now doing the heavy lifting for the captain. His advantage over second place Clint Bowyer, a half a second. 58 laps remaining here at New Hampshire. Behind Brad, it's Clint Bowyer, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jamie McMurray, and Jeff Gordon are your top 5 in Loudon. Let's take a closer look at today's race, brought to you by the Sprint Family Plan. With 7 people on the Sprint Unlimited Family Plan, you can get unlimited data, talk, and text for as low as $45 per month each. Visit sprint.com/speed or a Sprint store to start your family today. 16 lead changes among 8 drivers so far today here at New Hampshire. 249 of 301 laps complete, and with 52 to go, we are under caution for the 6th time. Debris on track, so that closes the field back up. 2 schools of thought here. You come down pit road and fuel mileage is out of the equation, or you say we get a caution laps, help our fuel mileage, let's stay out. Tough call here.
That's right. It depends on where you're sitting, because the guys 6th, 7th, and 8th are going to do probably what the opposite of the guys in front of them do. But that's what's hard about being the leader, is you've got to make that call. As good as I am, if I'm the 2, I'm going to come in and take 2 and put fuel on.
David Gilliland gets the free pass. He's 28th right now, and here come the leaders. They will pit with 51 laps to go. Go, Chris.
Well, we see Clint Bowyer coming down pit lane like the 1 car. They didn't get 2 cans of fuel in the 15, so they were going to be 10 to 15 laps short. So we're seeing tires and fuel left side. Marty.
Chris, you saw the bottom left-hand hand of your screen. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had trouble leaving his stall, almost ran into another car. It was left side tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
So a bunch of guys came down pit road. Others stayed out. Matt Kenseth, fuel only. Clint Bowyer, Brad Keselowski, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Larson, the top 5 off the pit lane. Jeff Gordon among those that stayed on track. Green flag back in the air in New Hampshire. 48 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Paul Menard, Greg Biffle, the top 6.
Harvick spun the tires big time. Stacked those guys up. Look at Keselowski down on the bottom, making hay.
All these guys stayed out, did not pit. Brad Keselowski on new tires, got right sides, and he's trying to charge to the front. Restarted 9th, did Brad Keselowski.
Now, like Kyle mentioned, this is the first time he's taken 2, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see how his car works.
It didn't look like there was some contact behind him. Maybe Kane and McMurray got together. Couldn't tell who it was. Front 4 all stayed out that you see running on track here. First car that came down pit road is Brad Keselowski, who's already back up in the 5th position.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like it's working pretty good, Kyle.
Yeah, and he got a great restart. When they stacked up a little bit in front of him, I mean, he came from 9th to 5th just instantly.
Good little battle here for second between teammates. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. Greg Biffle, who we haven't spoken of today, looking for his first win of the year. Rides in the 4th position. In fact, he's the first driver in the running order that hasn't won this season.
And this is the first time we've seen Jeff Gordon out front, and he's in clean air. Okay, yes, he hasn't pitted. Yes, there's some fuel issues. We're talking about all this, but his car is working really good right now, because we watch right behind this crowd the 2-car move in the 4th.
Got around Greg Biffle, who early in the race had those problems with a tire rub.
Ooh, 18 wiggled a little bit there.
Martin Truex Jr. sliding wide. A.J. Allmendinger, Kurt Busch, Danica Patrick driving by. Next to Brad Keselowski, the driver that has led the most laps today. Kyle Busch, who started on the pole, led 62 laps early.
The 2-car may not be cutting quite as good.
No, he's not making as quick a work of these guys as he was before. Before, with 4 tires, he was just cutting through them. And you know, he's struggling a little bit. These guys are just as good right now on their 2 tires as we see. He's finally got position on that 18 car now. But he had to work for that position.
Yeah.
Kyle made him work for that position, and before, he just took it. You couldn't make him work hard enough because his car was so good it would just roll through, and he just took the position.
Stop breaking Jeff Gordon's heart, who leads this race and pulling away a little bit out front in that clean air with 43 laps to go. Still all kinds of time for Brad Keselowski. And, you know, Kevin Harvick disappointed with his race car, frustrated early with a slower vehicle in Martin Truex Jr., but that 4 car starting to come to life. Going inside of Kyle Busch, and I remind you once again, they're playing a little strategy game. Rodney Childers on the pit box. They won here a year ago with Rodney being the man calling the shots for Brian Vickers.
Well, that 4-car doesn't look like it's coming to life.
No,
it looks like he has got his hands full.
And I think he does have his hands full getting in the corner. He can get that position. We saw him earlier get position on the 78 of Martin Truex, and now he gets it on Kyle Busch, but he can't take advantage of it because he can't roll down into the corner.
Yeah.
So it's probably, I don't know if it's a little free getting in when he puts a little more wheel in it, or if he's afraid it's going to push up into whoever he's racing.
Matt Kenseth among the drivers that did pit at lap 250 with everyone else, but he didn't get tires. He got fuel only. Racing around his old teammate in Greg Biffle, and right behind him, the rookie Kyle Larson trying to get back up inside the top 8. He also came down pit road at lap 250, but he got tires. I believe it was right sides for the 42. It would have been a 2-tire stop. Harvick continuing to battle with Kyle Busch.
And you see him get position, but right there, he has to roll out of it just a little bit. He's afraid to drive it on down in the corner.
Getting any better, Matt, for Kevin Harvick?
Harvick multitasking in the floor. The car is too tight. Now, they stayed out for track position. When we were at 61 laps ago, a long conversation between he and Rodney Childers. Rodney told him, look, the lap times you're running now are perfect for saving fuel. If you can give me 40 of the next 61 laps at the pace you're running now, we should be able to make it to the end.
And when you've got a car that's pushing like that, you can save fuel because you can't get after the throttle, you know, as soon as you want to in the middle of the corner.
While we were talking about Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski got another one, drove around Denny Hamlin. Brad is now second, 0.6 of a second behind race leader Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Brad's been about 2 or 3/10 of a second faster than everybody, and even with the 2 tires, now that things have stabilized out, he's still that much faster than everybody else.
Top driver on track without a win this season as we continue to think of possibilities to move into the chase grid. Clint Bowyer is 6th right now. Jeff Gordon hanging on, but that 2-car getting bigger and bigger in the rearview mirror, Marty.
And that's what they're talking about. Eddie DeHaan on the radio is letting Jeff Gordon know that the 2-car is closing on him very quickly. Fuel-wise, I just talked to Alan Gufson. He said, we're good. I said, are you sure you're good? He goes, I'm not sure, but I know we're going to try to go to the end without stopping again. Again, did not stop, but it's been an incredible rally for Jeff Gordon, who was 26 at one point today.
Yeah, it really has been. Those guys, that's a great comeback today.
And not a huge roll of the dice for Jeff Gordon here to stay out and try to make it on fuel, because he does have a win, picked up a victory earlier this season at Kansas. It just buys you so much insurance when you've got a checkered flag sticker above your door, knowing that you're going to be a part of the playoffs regardless of outcome here today. .35 laps remaining.
I think what I'm noticing here, Kyle, it seems like with him making, with Keselowski taking 2 tires, you can see he's got more of an arrow push with 2 tires when he's racing like behind Jeff. Like I say, he's not able to really roll underneath a guy like he did when he had 4.
Yes, and he's been very patient too.
Yes,
since the restart.
Yeah, he is being patient.
Matt.
Now, Adam, after the 2-car won in Kentucky, Paul Wolfe sounded very confident, talking about how this team had mustered back to their championship form from 2 years ago, and you could hear that confidence before this last stop as they called audible after audible the decision-making process about what they were going to pull strategy-wise.
I hate to be in your shoes, Paul. Got to shut off, and I've been saving, but whatever you're thinking.
We needed, 7, 8 caution laps.
Everybody else stays out. I want tires.
I'll say this. Brad needs to get around Jeff because he's holding Brad up, and Denny's starting to catch these guys. I think if Brad clears Jeff here, he'll start picking up his lap times because right now he slowed down about 2 or 3 tenths of a second as soon as he got behind Jeff.
Jeff didn't make it easy on him.
Way ahead, still outside. Gonna come back by you here. Hold you tight.
And certainly racing like that.
Outside. Give me a little bit outside.
There he goes.
Give me a little. All right, clear, buddy. Clear. Clear by 3. That's a nice battle, man.
Now he should drive away.
Yeah. And talking about Brad and those guys, and we heard Matt say, calling audible after audible. Listen, when you're as good as he is today, the world is your oyster. I mean, you
nice
can
to have options,
you've got tons of options. When you're in Jeff Gordon's position, when you're in Denny Hamlin's position, those guys trying to beat him, they have limited options because they know they can't match him lap for lap, speed for speed. So you have to look at the options that you have. And these guys, Allen and those guys made a great call. That team has rebounded, but that was a great call to stay out and keep that position.
Speak about rebounding. Kyle Larson, last 3 races, average finish 35th. The 3 prior to that, average of 8th. But with him being in the top 10, he's now crept back up there in the overall standings when you think about points and being able to get in the chase that way. Brad Keselowski leading at New Hampshire. Sunday, MLB on TBS heads to Fenway Park, about 75 miles down the road in Boston. An American League matchup between the Kansas City Royals and the Boston Red Sox. Don't miss Royals-Red Sox next Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. Just joining us late on a Sunday afternoon in New England, Brad Keselowski has dominated this race, started 7th, has led 106 of the 274 laps here this afternoon. Coming in to this race in his 9 previous starts, Brad had only led 26 circuits, the magic mile. Safe to say they've got this place figured out. Right behind him, Jeff Gordon, who's been all over the place today, but the 4-time champion has done a nice job of finding his way to the front. Denny Hamlin has led laps his 3rd. Kevin Harvick is 4th right now, and Clint Boyer, who got his first career victory here in 2007 and has won at this track twice, finds himself in the top 5 and looking for his first win of the season. And there's a number of guys inside the top 10, Larry, that got to be a little bit anxious when it comes to the fuel gauge late in this race.
Well, I couldn't agree with Wally and Kyle more. The only team I think that can beat Brad Keselowski, the 2 team right now, would be Brad Keselowski, the 2 team. But, yeah, when I look at Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, they still have to run what by my math is equivalent to 83 laps. They pitted with 88 to go. We've had 10 cautions, so you pull 5 laps off of that 88. They have to go equivalent to 83 laps. That's still a bit of a stretch for all 4 of those drivers. And I'm looking at the pace they're running right now. It's not like they've slowed down a whole lot.
Larry, we look when the guys up front last made a pit stop. Brad Keselowski was in under caution at lap 250. That's when guys like Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick stayed out. They last pitted at lap 213. And Denny Hamlin right now being shown third, Ralph.
Yeah, and the challenge for Denny is not only the fuel, but as he closes in on, say, Jeff Gordon, he can't run as hard as he wants to catch him because they need him to save that fuel. They've asked him to back off 250 RPMs per straightaway. So that's what he has to do, is balance the aggression of wanting to make a pass, yet stay in the game, Marty.
Ralph, it's funny, same exact plan for Jeff Gordon. Alan Gutson just told him on the radio, I need you to roll out of the throttle a little bit earlier. But listen, the 11's playing the same game we are. Watch him in your mirror. Kind of pace yourself with the 11, but roll out. We're right on our number. I'm not too worried if he passes us, but let's try and stay in front of him if we can.
All these strategies, conversations happening with now 22 laps to go, Marty. Brad Keselowski's advantage over Jeff Gordon, 1.2 seconds. We knew when he got around him he would pull away. Hasn't pulled away quite at the rate I thought he would, but probably just taking care of his car at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to. I think he's got a lot of race car to play with right now. So I think he's in pretty good shape. He knows he can make it on fuel, and like Larry mentioned, these guys behind him, I mean, it's going to be touch and go.
Clint Boyer is 5th. What's their comfort level with 21 laps to go, Chris?
Well, his spotter, Brett Griffin, coaching him pretty much every single lap, telling him, hey, you've got to charge hard. Those guys in front of you are saving fuel. We don't need to do that, so I need you to get everything you can out of that car. They're still unsure whether these guys in front of them can make it or not, but they're telling Clint right now, you got to dig.
And this, the battle for second. We were talking about the strategy late in the race for Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon. Hamlin's so good here a couple of years ago. And as these two battle for position, that's going to be good news for Brad Keselowski, who will try and stretch his lead. Hamlin to the outside, goes to second around Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and Jeff just pulls over down the front stretch and lets him go. And Jeff's disciplined. You know, he knows he's got to save fuel. He's in that mode. If he passes me, I know that's where it's at. If we get down close, then I've just got to keep in contact with him. I think Brad backed up to him to sucker him into racing, thinking they were going to catch Brad, you know what I mean, to run a little bit harder, because they busted off a couple of really good laps there, the 11 and the 24 did, when Brad was in sight. Then Brad, he's gone again.
But also, I think when you're in that fuel mode,
yeah,
and the 11's catching the 24, and when he starts getting close, the 24 starts picking up, then 11 starts picking up too. Then it goes, because I watched the lap, they both ran 29s right before the lap before they made the pass. Now they're back to running 30s.
Now they're back to running 30s.
Yeah.
So you get caught up in racing the guy instead of saving fuel.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's why I say Jeff's a disciplined driver.
Yes.
When Alan says, run me 30-second laps, Jeff's going to run you 30-second laps. He's not going to get suckered into racing you for a position.
Got that internal clock. Comes with experience, right?
And you're also thinking that maybe he'll run out of gas. You know, in Jeff's mind, he's thinking, hey, listen, you know, Denny Hamlin's in the same boat I am.
Off the top of the show today, Wally, you said it's so difficult to win here. And a perfect example of that is the last 12 races at New Hampshire. We've had 12 different winners. Brad Keselowski, not on that list. Almost unprecedented in this day and age of NASCAR. As good as some of these top-tier teams are, that we could go 13 for 13 over the course of the last 6.5 years.
That is pretty amazing.
And it's stats like that that we get from the people that help us each and every week. Russell Winrich not with us this weekend doing the Camping World Truck Series race last night in Iowa. He, Jimmy Hicks, Joe Kramer, all the guys from Racing Insights that help us each and every week. We appreciate that. And they're a part of the booth crew that takes such good care of us all 6 weeks long. Our stage manager, is Andy Jeffers. Big Newton's up here. Ron Skinner. Barb Hanford always handles our audio. So good to have that group supporting us each and every week. And it doesn't stop there. When we're not in the booth, we got plenty of other people making sure we're where we need to be. Sarah Phillips leads that organization. Want to say thanks to her, Savannah Brotherton, Alyssa Szymanski, Angela Lazinski, Michael Cameron, Neil Ragsdale, Sarah Mulneely, Kristen Mosher, all taking good care of us so we can stand up here in the booth and talk to you about something we all love, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing. And now we're down to 14 laps to go at New Hampshire. It's been the Brad Keselowski show. When he crosses the start-finish line, that will be 120 laps led of the 288 we've put up today. Kyle Larson going at it with Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's the battle for 8th position between a couple of Chevrolets. Right behind them, you've got Casey Kane, the final car inside the top 10. And, you know, that 5 car really, you take away Daytona, they've been running really good lately. Something we didn't see early in the year, but it's nice to see the 5 teams start to circle to the front and have some opportunities for success.
All these guys are on the same fuel mileage. They're running hard right here. Junior's wearing the mirror out on Larson.
These two are going at it pretty good here.
That's okay. As soon as you start getting close to somebody, all of a sudden you throw the fuel mileage out the window until you get by them.
Yeah.
Then you get back on fuel mileage mode.
How impressed have you been with Kyle Larson today, Larry?
Well, Adam, I know you've already done your Ram No Guts, No Glory, but I have to say it again. That strategy that Chris Heroy and Kyle Larson pulled back on lap 111 with 35 laps on their tires when they stayed out, that has set this top 10 run up for this young man. I know he's fallen in the clutches of Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now, but that right there was huge for his race today.
And while, Larry, it's not going to pay off in the way of a victory, he has moved back up now to 15th overall in the championship, only 2 points out of a points position on the chase grid. You don't always have to get to victory lane to make it a successful day. And here's a team that had been on such a slide in recent weeks because of bad luck. But that call put them in position here today and could be the difference between them running for a championship and not later in the year. 9 laps remaining. Brad Keselowski's lead, 1.6 seconds over Denny Hamlin. They have flexed their muscles this weekend at New Hampshire, Matt.
While Keselowski's been green-lighted on fuel mileage, per Paul Wolf's crew chief, Joey Meyer, the spotter, has reminded him a lot of other teams are very close. Keep an eye out for people running out of gas. There is a small piece of debris on the grill, but our old pal and broadcast partner Benny Parsons would simply sum up this stellar performance today with one of his man-oh-man. I think he's been shot out of the canyon from just about the drop of the green flag today. We sure do miss our old pal.
Matt brings up a good point, too. As this race winds down, if you're somebody like Earnhardt, and you're racing the 42, you want to be careful. Give yourself a little space between these guys, because when they run out of gas, they run out fast. Yes. You don't want to be driving through them when they run out of fuel in front of you.
Well, you want your spotter to help you in that regard, too. Make sure you manage the track the way you need to. I want to say thank you to our entire tech crew. Do an amazing job. The audio folks, those in graphics, all of our camera operators that stand out in the weather each and every week, those in the tape department giving us all our replays, and the guys in engineering. And speaking of engineering, our operations people that set the cables up and make sure everything is where it needs to be do an incredible job. The leadership of Bill Brittinger, Dennis Stone, Chris Brown, and Tom Sahara has been great all 6 weeks long, and for that we say a big thank you. Getting down to it here at New Hampshire. Brad Keselowski trying to win for the 3rd time this season. And as he comes across the start-finish line, 5 laps remaining. I want to go back to something he said after he won at Kentucky. Remember when he came on the radio and said, that felt like a championship performance? We're seeing it again here today.
Yeah, we are. This is kind of what, I thought we'd be seeing from the 4 teams, especially earlier in the season, as good as they were. I've been saying along, they've had the speed, but they haven't had the consistency. Well, these guys are starting to put it together, the wins and consistency.
And taking care of business at 1.5-mile tracks. Half the races in the chase are 1.5 miles. Good on the flat tracks. How about this? We got a chase race here at New Hampshire. Also go to Phoenix, Martinsville, a flat track, although it's a short track.
Watch these guys at Indy. Somebody's in the wall.
And we've got a caution. Brad Keselowski going to have to go through a restart. The rookie, Justin Allgaier, around in the 51 machine with 4 laps to go.
What happened there?
I'm not sure he didn't have some help.
Got on the inside of him, pushed him up out of the groove.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like he had a little help up there. We get back to, that 2-car at places like back at Pocono, Indianapolis.
Yes.
He's going to be tough there, I think.
Well, and Talladega in the chase. He's got 2 career wins at the Super Speedway
but because
in
of
Alabama.
The flat tracks, as good as they're at, there's a few of them coming up.
Let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened to Justin Allgaier. He's already into the wall there.
Yeah, can't tell. Just kind of too late in there.
It's hard to say. You saw the 34 car of David Reagan. You don't know whether they got together or whether David followed him up there after the accident had already started.
Allgaier was running 26th and on the lead lap when he hit the wall over in turn 3. And you would think, based on our lap count here, once they get it cleaned up, we will be going to overtime. Not unprecedented when it comes here to New Hampshire. It would be the 3rd time we had a green-white checker finish, and Denny Hamlin coming down pit road.
He must have seen by the gauges that he was already, fuel pressure gauge, he was already getting low.
What do you see, Larry?
Well, guys, this is absolutely what Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin did not need was overtime. Their strategy was based on a 301-lap race, and to Wally and Kyle's point, that's the reason he just went on and came to pit road.
They had last pitted at lap 213. And there you see Denny Hamlin pulling off pit road. Greg Biffle was there. Brian Vickers, Paul Menard. Some of the guys that Larry mentioned weren't going to be able to make it on fuel now that we're going to overtime. Come down, get tires, and we'll have to keep an eye on them on this restart.
From Gordon and Harvick.
Boy, if somebody runs out on
Kyle Busch on the restart.
It's gonna be
if
ugly.
somebody runs out when they go up through the gears. And we've seen that.
It'll be big.
We've seen that so many times. And there's no place to go on this front stretch. No place to hide.
No.
So Brad Keselowski leads. He last pitted at 250. Jeff Gordon stayed out. So did Kevin Harvick. They came down pit road last at 213. So did Kyle Busch, who stayed out. He restarts 5th. Clint Bowyer restarts 4th. He's the 2nd driver in line that should be good on fuel because he last made his pit stop at lap 250, just like our race leader, Brad Keselowski. This is the 5th time this season we will go to overtime at NASCAR's top level in the Sprint Cup Series. And the leader at the scheduled distance has gone on to win 2 of the first 4. I would say if you're Brad Keselowski, this isn't what you wanted, but in a way it kind of delays the inevitable, right? I mean, they've been so good, especially on restarts out of that outside lane.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a whole lot to worry about. He just gets a good restart. He's not going to have any issues, I don't think, here. It's just behind him. Like I said, if somebody has a problem getting up through the gears or runs out of fuel, it's going to take out a lot of good cars with good finishes right now. Or potential good finishes.
See the Toyota Camry pacing the field here at New Hampshire. And we want to say a special thanks to all the folks that have come together to put our Toyota Camry test car on track week in and week out. Larry's had the great toy to play with during the races, and I know the two of you have enjoyed driving it.
Yep.
And there's our first victim.
Yep, that's what I figured. There's going to be more to follow, I believe. You got Harvick sitting there, Kyle Busch.
Saw the graphic there. A driver has never swept the weekend, winning both the Nationwide Series race and the Sprint Cup Series race here at New Hampshire. Brad Keselowski yesterday leading 152 of the 200 laps in the Nationwide car. And today, 133 laps out front of the 301 we have turned in the Sprint Cup race. As Gordon gets pushed back toward the pit area, we hear from Larry.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that was responsible for our Toyota Camry test car. Obviously, Toyota for supplying it. Goodyear for supplying the tires for our 6 on-track activity with Kyle and Wally, and Bill Ryan Engineering that put this car together. We've taken you places, hopefully, that you've not seen before, from the inspection process we did at Michigan, from a pit stop last week at Daytona in the rain, I might add. I know it's been fun for me, and I hope the fans have truly enjoyed everything we've done with this Toyota Camry test car this year.
I want to thank Larry.
Being our crew chief.
Yes, for being our crew chief. Larry, we were in good hands. I know you worked your butt off on this car, and I know that you had a few sleepless nights on this thing to help Kyle and I do that. So I want to definitely thank you for all your hard work on that.
Yeah, it was fun being able to do that in our final season here with NASCAR on TNT.
I appreciate you being in charge of the tape, Larry.
Yeah.
And the power steering belt.
Yeah, that thing was a handful yesterday, boy.
Getting ready for the green-white checker. Get the green flag. Once the leader takes the white flag, the next lap makes this race official. The next flag we would see, whether it be the caution or the checker. Green flag goes back in the air.
Harvick's out of fuel.
Keselowski. 4 pulls out of line.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, the 4 and the 18 of Kyle Busch were the 2 that were right
Yeah, and
there.
Kyle Busch is sitting second, so when he runs out of fuel, it's going to be a mess if he runs
3
out.
wide off of turn 2. So far, so good for Brad Keselowski on the restart. He's dominated this race. Now he tries to finish the deal. Sees the white flag, and the next one will end it. It would be the 4th straight win for Ford this season. They haven't won 4 in a row since all the way back in 2001.
I don't know how they're not wrecking behind them right now.
And 2 of those victories going to belong to Brad Keselowski. He dominates again.
Thank you for services. Thank you very much, Paul. You're spoiling me.
First career win for Brad Keselowski here at New Hampshire.
A few of them get together in the back there. You see smoke coming off Danica's car. Great job of saving fuel by Kyle Busch. And Kyle Larson, we go back to that call they made earlier. The kid finishes 3rd. Great run by him.
Where did Newman come from? He finishes 5th.
Amazing.
I think they're still in championship form, like he referred to at Kentucky. They were incredible today.
Yeah. A lot of people scratching their heads, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going to go back to the drawing board after this one.
Brad Keselowski, for the first time in his career, has done it at New Hampshire. Let's hear from Paul Wolfe, the winning crew chief, Matt.
A car that dominant allowed them just about every strategy. So what type of statement did this send to the competition, knowing this is race number 2 in the chase come September?
Well, the thing is, all the teams in this garage work hard, but it's not only about working hard, but it's about being smart and working smart. And obviously we're doing a good job of that right now, but we want to keep pushing hard, keep the pressure on, and be ready to go when the chase starts.
Congratulations.
All right, thanks.
Spider Joey Meyer told Brad, by the way, wear gloves in victory lane.
Referring to his incident at Kentucky, Matt, where he busted that champagne bottle, had to go get 4 stitches in his hand. As he always does, celebrate with the American flag. Next week, Sprint Cup teams are off. Their final break of 2014. Well-deserved for Brad Keselowski, who has picked up his 3rd win of 2014. It was, in fact, the Brad Keselowski show today in Loudon, New Hampshire. 19th race of the year. Serves up his third victory of the campaign. He led 137 of what ended up being a 305-lap race. Went 4 laps into overtime, but it did not impact the Reds Apple Ale Ford. First time a Ford has won here at New Hampshire since September 2008. Brad laid it on him today. Let's hear from him down in Victory Lane. Marty Snyder.
Having a chat with Paul Wolfe right now, and when he gets out of the car, they're going to give Brad Keselowski a broom because he has pulled off the New Hampshire sweep. Little fist bump, and hey, makes it even better that the captain, Roger Penske, flew from Iowa last night. He came in here this morning, and he was able to celebrate the win with Brad Keselowski, who gets 2 wins in his last 3 races. And you can get on now of the car, Brad. Go ahead. Brad Keselowski with a dominating performance, and this is what you get for that. A little celebration in Victory Lane. What an incredible weekend for this race team. Yeah, sweep up all those Apple Ales, why don't you? I would ask you when the last time you had a dominant car like this was, but I think it was 2 weeks ago at Kentucky. This may be the best Penske has ever been right now.
It sure feels like it. The Reds Apple Ale Ford Fusion was hauling today, and it's a privilege to have cars like this and a team that's just clicking. You know, I guess you could say we're red hot. But no, just a thriller. I can't believe it. Win both races. I thought we'd be pretty good here at Loudon. We've been really good here the last few years, but just haven't been able to close out, and today we're able to do that.
A couple questions about how the race played out. Number one, you guys went 4 tires all day long. You went 2 on the last stop. Were you worried about working your way through traffic with that and then the final restart?
Yeah, I think I was more worried about the guys that had 4, and I think Kyle there at the end had 4, and he was going to give me all I had, and thankfully we only had 2 laps to hold him off. But just a great race, hard fought, and Kyle made me earn it there at the end, and just a lot of fun driving through all this traffic and having fun. It's just a great series and having a lot of fun here in the Cup World, and I want to thank Sprint for sponsoring it, and we'll keep having cars like this, man. The sky's the limit. I'm just really, really proud of everybody at Team Penske. I'm not going to get to see them this week, so I'm going to give them a cheers right here. I got sponsor stuff, but hey, look at this.
Bruton Smith giving them a big hug. Hey, are you allowed to touch champagne bottles in Victory Lane anymore, or are you banned from champagne bottles now?
I'm told I got like a special pair of Kevlar gloves. I don't know where it's at, but we'll figure it out.
Hey, the boss man's here. You better go give him a hug. Roger Penske in Victory Lane as well. A lot of celebration down here, as you would imagine, Matt.
Impressive display of patience by Kyle Busch, trying to save fuel, trying to make it to the end. You ran out coming to the finish, but what was the biggest challenge today, trying to get a good balance on this 18 car?
We just kind of fought turning the center all weekend. You know, we thought we were pretty close to the start of the race. You know, I thought they made some good adjustments overnight and got us going there early. And, you know, every time here, just about 40, 50 laps in, I just don't have any more front turn, you know. But guys did a great job today. The Center State Batteries Camry was good, and should have been, you know, anywhere from 4th to 6th. But, you know, we made a gutsy call there at the end to stay out and see if we can make it on fuel. We just barely made it. Ran out right at start finish. So can't say enough about Interstate Batteries, M&M's, Monster Energy, all the Interstate Batteries folks that were with us here this weekend, and most importantly, probably Norm Miller's birthday this weekend, so appreciate all those guys.
Coming back in September, what's the biggest thing you feel positive about coming back here?
Don't screw it up. We've got good things going for us right now so far here. You know, we finished second 3 times in a row. I think all the different winners, so, you know, we're close. Don't need to screw that up at least and finish worse than second.
All right. Good luck in September. Kyle Busch, second here in the Magic Mile. Chris?
Well, Kyle Larson in a bit of a slump lately, but comes home third today. And Kyle, you and your crew chief made a pretty crazy crawl early on, got you the track position. You were able to stay up front the rest of the day.
Yeah, we talked about in our team meeting that it's going to take a really dumb call, or what will look dumb will hopefully work out, and it did. You know, we got to lead some laps and maintained our track position all race long after that. So great pit calls by Shine. The Target Chevy was really good. You know, I thought we definitely had a capable car to run top 3, and you know, the last restart worked out for us. So just, you know, hats off to everybody on this team. Once again, thanks to Target for letting me come out here and do what I do, and Chip and everybody at the shop. You know, these race cars have been a lot faster this year than they have in the past. So just, you really want to thank those guys, and just really having a blast right now.
Well, that dumb call looked pretty smart today.
Well, Dale, it's official. 2 wins and the points make it you're into the chase. That's all done. Tell me about your 10th place finish today.
Yeah, that was frustrating. That was the hardest I've ever worked for a 10th place finish. But we've been off all weekend. It's been a real frustrating weekend, to be honest. And the guys worked real hard. And Steven, the engineers, did their best to try to get the car more competitive, man. But just to have that, be lacking that much speed against a lot of them guys, having to drive so perfect every lap. That was really frustrating. I had a good race with the 42, Kyle, at the end there. He was real loose. I was way too tight, so that was a mixture for us just to get stuck together and not be able to work around each other. But I had fun racing him. But I don't know, man. I wish we were better. We're going to have to come back here and run better than that to have a shot in the chase. So, but, we'll keep working. 10th place. I'm really disappointed, but I remember when we used to like these.
Well, nobody quite had the speed for the 2-car today, but Matt Kenseth comes home 4th. And, Matt, where you guys are in the championship points, 4th sounds like a win.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we want to win races. We won a lot of races last year. This year, we feel like we've been kind of playing catch-up. But overall, our Dollar General Camry was much improved today. I felt like all 3 of our JGR cars were top 5 race cars today. So just really want to thank the whole crew, for getting our car better. And Danny and Darian, those guys worked really hard on some short track stuff that helped us. So overall, it was a good effort. We want more, but it was a decent day.
Good job.
So Matt Kenseth, a part of the Joe Gibbs bunch. Joe Gibbs and Team Penske combining today to lead 235 of 305 laps. Those two organizations very, very good here this afternoon. Our updated chase grid after 19 races. Matt Kenseth continues to be the top guy that has not won. And how about Kyle Larson back on the chase grid after his top 5 finish here today?
Pretty impressive run by that kid, and a gutsy call to put him up front to be able to take advantage of that.
Brad Keselowski now joining Jimmy Johnson as the only 2 drivers that have 3 victories on the campaign. Ryan Newman, 7th overall in the championship. Let's hear from him. He was 5th today.
Well, Ryan Newman was pretty quiet all day long, but once it come down to that final restart, he attacked hard, got the 5th place finish. And I think both you and the 15 were really nose-to-nose on the line. I saw you get out of the car, and you went over, had a couple laughs there with Clint Boyer. What'd you guys have to say?
I just told him I didn't have a scratch on it the whole day, and then we bounced off each other the last corner. But great effort for the Caterpillar team, everybody at RCR and ECR, and just not the end that we wanted, but we ended the best position we were all day, and you can't argue a whole lot with that. So guys did a good job. We just we got off the one time there when we stayed out. We were the last car on old tires, had guys come with fresher tires, and it just hurt us. So good hard fought back finish.
And where they are in championship points, top 5, very beneficial.
Take all you can get at this stage of the game. And there you see track president Jerry Gappens presenting the Lobster to Brad Keselowski. First time he's gotten one at the Sprint Cup level here at New Hampshire. We offer our congratulations. NASCAR on TNT back live in Loudon, New Hampshire. I want to say a special thank you to our pit reporters hustling again today during post-race activity. Chris Neville, Ralph Shaheen, Matt Yoakum, and Marty Snyder, always doing a great job in the trenches. And as always, our crew chief, Larry McReynolds, giving maximum effort. Larry, it's been a fun ride here on TNT. We thank you for what you do each and every week at the track and at home as well.
Well, I appreciate it, Adam. It's hard to believe 19 races in the book in 2014. And you look at our 6 races, Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning at Pocono, Carl Edwards, a road course winner, Eric Almirola last week at Daytona, and Brad Keselowski winning 2 of our 6 races. I want to say personally, I enjoyed for a number of years being on pit road and talking to the pit reporters with Turner Sports as a crew chief, but I thoroughly have enjoyed these last 8 years and these 48 races being down here at the Toyota Camry test car and working with my family on TNT. Thank you so much.
Larry, you absolutely are a true professional, and we thank you for all you do. And that is a sincere thanks. And now I say a sincere I'm sorry, because you had that victory cigar lit up before the race went down. Didn't go Larry's way, and somehow, in one of the great comebacks of all time.
Doesn't it?
No,
It did.
It did. I was just absolutely shocked that you pulled it. Hey, Wally, for the second consecutive year,
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
I'd like to thank everybody back at the shop and all my sponsors.
I wish I had a lobster to hand you here so you could celebrate properly here at New Hampshire. Hey, we're laughing. What a fitting way for us to wrap it up, because everyone says to us about our coverage, seems like you guys have a great time, and I think each and every week we do.
I do, for sure. I mean, we give each other a hard time. We have a lot of fun. We have fun on camera, but we have twice as much fun off camera, and it's been a privilege working for TNT and everybody involved in TNT. There's a class act of people, and I'm going to miss you guys for about an hour or two, and then after that I'll move on.
I'm going to miss you until I get to the airport. I'm going to miss him. I'm not going to miss you.
Hey, that hurts.
It has been an honor to work with you guys. It's been a true pleasure. And, I got this job through Mark Lazarus and Jeff Binky, those guys, when Benny Parsons kind of recommended me, and that was a huge honor to be here for that. But I've enjoyed all this time, and everybody. It is a class act. There's great people that work at TNT, and that's what this has all been about, family. I come from a family organization, and this was family, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, let me say, I had never been in the booth for a Sprint Cup Series race on television until I started working with you 5 years ago at Pocono, and you guys have embraced it and let me do my thing, and I appreciate that, because sometimes it's not easy, I understand.
If I remember correctly, he had a full head of hair back then.
Yes, he did.
I could be wrong.
I owe that to the two of you, right?
Exactly, right.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you,
I
man.
know we'll see each other around. And
thank you, dude.
Hey, and also, we haven't thanked them yet, but thank you to the fans. And I know a couple of checks on Twitter today, we've been lit up of people thanking us for our coverage. And in 32 years, you can't do it without the people at home that watch each and every week, and we thank them for their support.
And I checked my Twitter, too, and I was lit up, but not people thanking me. But I appreciate that. Thank all you guys on Twitter that tweet me weekly.
Okay.
I'm Twitter.
Well, it's certainly been an outstanding ride. And we want to say a special thanks as well to Jeff Sponge Randolph, who's our producer. Does an amazing job. His heart and soul goes into it every week. Our director, Mike Wells, one of the great veterans in the business. So fun to be around Mike, listen to his stories. Our coordinating producer is Barry Landis, and Barry brings such great insight each and every week, whether we're on a conference call or here at the track. The high people at Turner also let us play every week. Tim Kiley, Albert Vertino, and Craig Berry, our vice presidents. The president of Turner Sports is Lenny Daniels. And the man who leads it all, the president of Turner Sports Broadcasting Systems, that would be David Levy. As we say congratulations today to Brad Keselowski, we say goodbye to you for the final time. The checkered flag here at New Hampshire marks the end of a 32-year run of Turner Sports covering NASCAR. We've enjoyed some of the sport's biggest names: Allison, Elliott, Earnhardt, Petty, Gordon, and Johnson. As we sign off today, we leave you with some of our fondest memories on track. It's been our pleasure bringing NASCAR into your living room. We thank you for being with us every step of the way. One last time, so long from New Hampshire.
I'm Ken Squire, ready to bring you our live flag-to-flag coverage of this great day of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Side by side. No, there's no time into the finish. Wild finish. Kyle Petty has won it. His first Winston Cup victory.
Kowicki going for all of it. They touch, and across the line, it's Elliott. Checkers are out, and it is Jeff Gordon.
This is the greatest day of my life. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling.
The crowd rising to their feet, not just for Earnhardt, but for all of these drivers after they have lost one of their own.
All of us is in the memory of Davey. I'd run second to him in a minute if it'd bring him back.
Steve Park is off into the infield. Over on his lid, it's Parkindale Jr. You see Park moving inside the car. He's trying to get himself out.
Teammates walking away from a crash like that, arm in arm.
Coming to the checkers.
I don't know. Oh, man. Big loose. That was all Kyle Busch right there. That was incredible. Can you believe this?
I can't believe it, Kyle.
Just wanted to touch him, man. Just wanted to touch him.
Can't get it to the high side. Here he comes. There he goes. Busch in the wall. Here comes Stewart to the checker flag. And they're scattering everywhere as they come to the
is TNT's last race. Going with a bang here.
We are off and racing in New England.
Good. Come on, come on, come on, clear. Come on, keep coming. TNT, we thank you for services.
Career win for Brad Keselowski here in New Hampshire.